part of the storm. So I'm going to show you the velocity because this is bound to change, and like I've been mentioning, it is really broadening, which means it's weakening. So instead of seeing a tight little couplet, I'm seeing a wide area of rotation. That's good news. We like seeing that because that means that this is weakening. This is still moving towards the north and east at about 30 miles per hour. So definitely want to take caution if you're even north of Bastrop. Say if you live along Highway 95 in northern Bastrop County, you might not be experiencing the heavy rain at the moment, but you are more than likely experiencing at least some light rain. I see a lot of green up there, some light rain and some strong wind gusts. So this is just an overview of what we're seeing across the entire county. Bastrop County, absolutely the most active in our area. I'm going to zoom out here so I can give everyone a bit better picture of where all the action is taking place. And this is mostly over, or at least the intense stuff, it's over Bastrop. But we're also seeing some heavy rain in Travis County, seeing some heavy rain in Hayes County, even some rainfall rates of over an inch per hour. So if it were to rain in that exact same spot for an hour, then we would see over an inch and a quarter. That's some pretty significant rainfall when we're talking about this kind of a dry spell that we've been sitting in. The first 10 days of May were very quiet. They were very dry. We didn't see a lot of rain. So some of these soils may be taking in too much water too fast, causing some minor flooding. And you know what areas see the flooding in your neighborhoods. You drive by them all the time, I'm sure. Hopefully not through them, but around them. And of course the heavy rain also extending in areas of Travis County. I'm seeing some of that heavy rain in southern Travis County and over towards Round Rock. I'm not seeing any lightning there, which is impressive considering we do have some tornado warned storms not too far away. Let's go ahead and look at some hail cores. So these thunderstorms in particular are actually very short, meaning they're not super tall, meaning they're not producing as much lightning as you would normally see with a tornado warned storm in the spring. These are short, meaning we're not seeing hail cores in these storms either. So again, the main threat with the storms that are moving over Bastrop County, definitely the rotation, the strong winds that these storms can produce, as well as the heavy rainfall as well. So again, 2 tornado warned storms. The time is 10:30, and these tornado warned storms are warned until 10:45. This particular storm is over Bastrop. It includes Bastrop, Camp Swift, KC Estates, and initially when this was issued, it was right between Cedar Creek and Bastrop, or that rotation was, and now I'm seeing it just to the north and west of Clearview. So I'm going to zoom in here and see if I can see any more roads in that area. Again, this is just to the south and southwest of Bastrop. So I see FM 20. The rotation is right between FM 20 and Highway 3 or 4 if you are familiar with that area. Again, this particular part of the storm is where we're seeing that rotation, and this is moving northwest at 30 miles per hour. So I'm going to put another track on there for you just to kind of see, you know, where this is headed, what locations this is going to impact. Again, this in particular, this timeline that I'm showing you, this is for an estimate. It's not, and it's just an estimate for the rotation, not necessarily an estimate for the storm as a whole. You might already be experiencing some really strong wind gusts around that area. So let's see, Grimes School around 10:41, Bastrop Middle School around 10:34. The time now is 10:32. Lawrence School around 9:29. So just an idea there. We do have another warned storm. It was over Smithville, but I am seeing this moving north of Smithville now, and I can see there that rotation. It's not as well defined as it was, say, 10 minutes ago, which is good. We want to see a broadening rotation with this. And this all moving towards the northeast at about 20 miles per hour. It's moving slower than the storm right over Bastrop. I'm going to put this into motion here just so you can see how it's progressed over the past hour. So this was at 9:32. The storm, or the strongest part of the storm, was in southern Bastrop County, moving towards the north and east. And here's an update, a snapshot of what it looks like right now. And if you can, I'm going to zoom in here because I just saw something interesting. Something else that I've seen is this is around 9:56. Fast forward in time, you see some lightning there, and then you see a lot less lightning. That's also good news. That means the storm overall is weakening. So I'm hoping the more north this moves, the weaker it gets, because initially these storms start rotating because they're moving in an opposite direction of the winds that they're moving into, if that makes sense. So this was moving east at one point, and our winds were out of the south. So these storms kind of moved into an environment where we had pretty strong winds out of the south, so those kind of helped rotate these storms. And now that they're kind of going with the wind, I'm hoping that the rotation continues to broaden or weaken overall. Again, Bastrop County, strongest part of the storm. The National Weather Service has now canceled the tornado warning for Fayette County. So remember I told you about that, and you saw that update here if you're watching your screen, and you can see it a bit closer. Remember I told you that the storm over Fayette County, the National Weather Service drew a box, and it just happened to include a small sliver of Fayette County, but Fayette County, you are in the clear. You're not in any danger, and the Weather Service just kind of trimmed that warning to update. Another interesting little spin up that I'm seeing now. So we have, let me show you here. We have this particular rotation just south of Bastrop. We have this particular rotation just north of Smithville. But now my eyes have kind of drawn to this right here. There's another rotation, or a signature of rotation, just to the south and southwest of Smithville. So this is interesting because it's a storm that was kind of developed on the tail end of other storms. I'm going to look here at rotation and see. Oh yeah. So out of all three of those rotations I just showed you, that particular rotation right over, let me zoom in here and see what towns are nearby. Just southwest of Smithville, south of Upton, south of Clearview, where you see that red and the green, that's where I'm seeing the tightest rotation, meaning the strongest rotation of Bastrop County. And this is right along 304, Highway 304, just south of Upton, just south of Clearview, if you know where that is. So this particular storm is now severe thunderstorm warned. And basically what this means is that the National Weather Service also is seeing some strong indication of rotation on this particular storm. Not just that, but it's also producing some heavy rainfall. It's also producing some strong wind gusts as well. So that's just something to keep in mind. And that red box that you see there, that's just a tornado warning. So we now have 3 active tornado warnings for Bastrop County. 3 active tornado warnings. So that rotation that I was pointing out, the National Weather Service obviously saw it too, because they went ahead and just issued that tornado warning. Now this particular one is in place until 11 a.m. This is rotation that just popped up less than 10 minutes ago, southwest of Smithville. So this is number 3 of the 3 active warned tornado warned storms. So I'm going to show you here. This is along 304. This is a tornado warned storm, of a thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. This is 9 miles southwest of Smithville, and this also moving northeast at 20 miles per hour. So I'm going to put a tracker there for you. Again, our friends in Smithville, a lot of heavy rainfall, a lot of strong winds. I know you're probably hearing your phones going off quite a bit, especially if you have that KVUE app. That KVUE app notifies you with any warnings. By the way, this particular part of the storm moving north and east at 20 miles per hour. And it's just to the southwest of Smithville. So Smithville, Crawford, 11:02. Page at 11:36. If this storm continues on the same track, it'll be right over Smithville at 11:40. 10:01. The time right now is 10:37. So it is moving, trekking along to the north and east at about 20 miles per hour. So again, with these, some of these are slow moving, and a lot of these are also really quick as far as the spinning up goes. They show signs of rotating pretty quickly and then just as quickly show signs of not rotating. And that's kind of the danger with this particular type of storm is just how quickly things can show up on radar or not show up. So I'm going to zoom out here, kind of show you that the three areas again where I'm seeing rotation. I'm seeing rotation just south of Bastrop. I'm seeing it to the southwest of Smithville. See, it's probably a little easier if I draw it out for you. Just south of Bastrop right there. Just to the southwest of Smithville, right along there. And also to the north of Smithville. That's not the strongest indication of rotation, but that particular storm has shown some indications of it. So Bastrop County very active right now, not just with the warned storms, obviously, but also the heavy rainfall. I'm not seeing that much lightning with it, meaning these storms are short, which is a good thing because that means I'm not seeing any hail with this either. With any of the storms that form, any rotation that is produced, it's going to be short-lived just because of the nature that these are in, that the environment these are in. Right, I'm sure a lot of you are wondering what's going on in my neighborhood. I'm going to zoom out here and show you. If you are in southern Austin, South Austin, you are seeing the heavy rain as well, but no active warnings there. A few of you might have a notification that you have a severe thunderstorm warning in Caldwell. That is an old notification. That is, you're in the clear. The National Weather Service just hasn't trimmed that up just yet. Most of the severe stuff, or actually all of the severe stuff, all of the strong storms are in Bastrop County. So our friends in Bastrop County definitely want to make sure you give them a phone call, tell them to go ahead and tune in because this is a very active area. I'm going to take another zoom in here. Hayes County also seeing some heavy rainfall. Buda to Kyle over towards Wimberley, that's where we're seeing the heaviest of rain. Not seeing a whole lot of lightning, which like I mentioned before, it's a good thing. That means we aren't experiencing too much in the way of hail. So I'm going to show you some velocity here. I'm starting to see a few other little spin-ups or signatures of them, meaning just some rotation. And I'll show you, here, let me draw that out for you. Again, just south of Bastrop, to the southwest of Smithville, north of Smithville. But I'm also seeing some minor right south of Cedar Creek. I know this can be confusing just because they're popping up so quickly and just as quickly kind of dissipating. But just stick with me. Bastrop. If you are in the city of Bastrop, you want to make sure that you are taking cover. If you're outside on the outskirts of Bastrop, maybe towards Cedar Creek, you want to make sure to take cover. What does that mean? That means getting in the middle part of your house, keeping as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Let's see, the National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning for Bastrop and portions of Lee County. So basically what that means is that this other warned storm has been, it's just been extended to include a bigger area. So Lee now included in the tornado warned storm that was just north of Smithville. So let's show you that here. This now includes the town of Page. It includes Giddings. So this is right along the Bastrop and Lee County line. That rotation is not over that area yet, but it is headed in that direction. This is 7 miles north of Smithville, moving northeast at 20 miles per hour. So a lot of these little rotations that we're seeing, they're moving north and east at 20 miles per hour. This in particular is moving towards Page and Giddings. Right across the county line there, the Bastrop-Lee County line. It includes Highway 290, if you know where that is, 290 right between Page and Giddings. I'm going to zoom out here and show you, because I know sometimes with a lot of colors it's hard to tell. But Bastrop County, if you are north of Smithville, between Page and Giddings, you are under a tornado warning a warning meaning that it's time to take action. We are still seeing rotation with that particular storm. That storm quickly blew over or through Smithville, and another storm is headed in that direction. So Smithville, if you are over in that area, you are probably experiencing some heavy rainfall. Not just that, but also some really strong winds. All right, I'm just trying to get caught up here with the National Weather Service. They are sending me some notifications here. The strongest rotation, of course, are the two in eastern Bastrop County at the moment. And there's a new one southwest of Smithville, which is a stronger one. But we're still going to continue to monitor the rotation just south of Page in northeastern Bastrop County. So that's why that warning has been extended into Lee County, if you're wondering. If you're in Lee County and your phones are going off, that's exactly why. So if you're in Lee County and somewhere between Page and Giddings, then you definitely want to make sure that you're in a safe spot. Make sure you're in a sturdy structure. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. The threat with the western warning is really starting to weaken, and they will probably expire a portion of this, which is good. We like hearing that from the Weather Service, expiring warnings. So whenever you see that picture jump a little bit, that just means that we have a new radar scan in. Radar scanning, basically it's just taking a snapshot of what the storms are doing. It's just a picture. So what we see now is a rotation still definitely south and west of Smithville. That is a strong indication of rotation, and I'm going to draw that out for you. It's where the green and the red kind of come together there, right along there. I'm going to zoom in. I know this is a lot of colors, but bear with me. I'm going to zoom in and show you Upton, just to the east of 304, Highway 304, just to the north of FM 535 is where I'm seeing the strongest rotation in the county of Bastrop, and Bastrop is the most active county of our viewing area. We do have a tornado warned storm, or several, but this is by far the strongest one. It's just to the west of Smithville. It's moving north at 20 miles per hour. So it's been a hot minute here since I've showed you another track there. Around your time now is 10:45, around 11:03, that rotation making it to Smithville, Crawford. At 11:38, around Page. We've been talking about this particular part of the storm heading towards Page, right between Page and Giddings. And we will continue to obviously keep an eye on this. I know a few people are out there staying tuned to our updates, just because this is a dangerous part of the storm. Oh, you might be thinking, wow, that's a lot of tornado warnings, and yeah, it is. We have 2 active tornado warnings. The National Weather Service has expired one of them. This particular part here that I'm circling in pink, I hope you can see that color, pink. It is the storm that was over Cedar Creek, the storm that was over Bastrop. I'm not seeing rotation there anymore, but you're probably still experiencing the heavy rain and the strong winds. Just hang in there, because once this moves north, you're going to see some clearing. See this right here? That's dry air moving in. So just hang in there if you're in Cedar Creek. If you're in Bastrop, you're no longer under a tornado warning. Now, your phone might still be going off if you're in eastern Bastrop, the city of Bastrop on the eastern edge, excuse me, and that is because of this particular warned storm. It's now just to the west of Smithville. I'm seeing a few lightning strikes, but still no indication of hail within this. This continues to move north and east at about 20 miles per hour. There is another tornado warned storm, and this is the one moving out of Bastrop and going into Lee County. This is right between Page and Giddings along 290. So those are 2 storms, 2 areas of rotation that I'm watching, along with heavy rain, just heavy rain, extending from Williamson down to Hayes County, even down towards San Antonio. I see Bernie getting some heavy rain and some lightning as well. I'm not seeing a lot of lightning though. Most of the lightning I've seen today actually has been in Hayes County, just south of Wimberley is where we're seeing some of that heavy rain. But I don't see any indication of rotation in your area, which is good. We like that. Going back to Bastrop, where we do have our 2 tornado warned storms. These are going to be tornado warned until, let's see, I believe it was 10:45. Let me double check on that. A few of these have been popping up. Until 11 a.m. We do have tornado warned storms until 11 a.m. And this is for that strong rotation that I was telling you about. It popped up southwest of Smithville, but it's now moving in the direction of Smithville. This moving north and east at 20 miles per hour, along with another area of rotation just to the south of Page. This one is in place, this tornado warned storm, the warning in place until 11:15. And the rotation going right between Page and right between Giddings in this area. So Bastrop, Lee County line is where we're seeing that. And I did just get word from the National Weather Service that we are now under a tornado watch. So let me explain the difference here, because there is a difference. A tornado watch simply means that we are in an environment that's favorable for producing thunderstorms that rotate. A tornado warning, which are the 2 things that we have right now, or 2 warnings right now in Bastrop, meaning that the threat is already there. That means that it's the time to take action. It's the time to tune in and go to your safe spot. So that is what's happening right now in Bastrop and Lee County with those 2 areas of rotation. That is a tornado warning. I'm going to go ahead and switch over views so I can see a tornado watch. The yellow that you see there, that's for a tornado watch. It includes Williamson, Travis, Hayes, Blanco County, and it obviously includes Bastrop, Lee, Fayette, and Caldwell County, down to San Antonio. It includes portions of Interstate 10. And this looks like it'll be in place until 5 p.m. So the particular system that we're watching, I'm trying to show you this without too much going on here. Let's see, too many colors, I should say. What we're watching is this area of low pressure that developed just to the southwest of San Antonio. And you can, if you look closely enough, you can kind of see this rotation. It's kind of a big area of rotation there. And with these type of systems, we oftentimes get these little tiny spin-ups. And these spin-ups are, like I've mentioned before, they're not long-lived, but certainly can cause some pretty gusty winds, some high winds. So that's why we want to make sure that we are taking care and keeping an eye out, especially for our friends in Bastrop County at the moment. Areas in Travis County, Hayes County, I know you're experiencing the heavy rainfall, but you do not have any active warnings at the time. We are, however, under a tornado watch. Another area that just popped up north of San Antonio, it looks like it's along Interstate 10. In fact, there is a tornado warned storm there just to the, let's see, that looks like it's just to the south of Bernie, south of Blanco County. So it's not quite in our area, but I know we have a lot of friends, obviously there, our neighboring counties. So I'm going to show you again the active warnings that are in place for us in particular. Bastrop County is the main area. And this is still an active warning. We have 2 areas of rotation that we are watching. This is just to the west of Smithville. Another one is just to the north of Smithville. So I'm going to go ahead and show you some of that velocity. The velocity, it's a good tool because it helps us determine exactly where the little couplets are. Couplets are just areas of rotation. And I'm seeing 2 areas. One is just south of Page. This one does not look like it is a strong rotation anymore, but this one is moving northeast at 20 miles per hour, so it's moving in that direction. We have another area of rotation, and this one is well defined. I mean, you can see it, it's kind of popping out at you. This is just to the west of Smithville, and this is also moving towards the north and east at about 20 miles per hour. I'm going to zoom in here, and I want to see just how far away from Smithville it is. So I'm going to measure this out for you. The area of rotation and 95 that runs right through Smithville, it's about 5 miles, 4 or 5 miles just to the west of you. It is just 2 to 3 miles south of Alum Creek. This is along Highway 71. It's about 2 miles away from Highway 71, and this thing is trekking to the north and east at about 20 miles per hour. So definitely want to make sure to take caution there. If you know somebody that maybe takes that route, give them a heads up, tell them not to get in that car, because not only are we seeing a signature of rotation, but we're also seeing very heavy rainfall on top of really strong winds, and that's just not the safest environment to drive in. That particular rotation moving towards the north and east, it looks like the Weather Service is issuing that tornado warning, not just to expand it in coverage, but also to extend it in time. And let's see, this will be extended until 11:30. So this is the particular part of the rotation will make it to Giddings around 11:51 this morning. The time now is 11:53. So I'm going to switch over to a different view, kind of get you a better update on where we're seeing that tornado warned storm. All right. So the National Weather Service has issued another tornado warning. This includes Bastrop and Lee County until 11:30. And it is because of that rotation that I was just talking to you about, showing you how far away it is from Smithville and how far away it is from, I believe it's Highway 71, moving to the north and east. If you are in southern Bastrop County, you're out of it. If you're in Red Rock, you're out of it. If you're in Cedar Creek, you're probably just experiencing some light to moderate rainfall at the moment. So this new warning was issued mostly for the circulation, the strong circulation in Bastrop County between Upton and Smithville. So I can show you that again. And again, this moving towards the north and east. I know I've said that quite a bit, but it's important to know where this is and what direction this is heading in, because sometimes it can get confusing with these little spin-ups. We are keeping track of 2 active tornado warned storms, 2 different areas of rotation. So the rotation looks like it's right over Highway 71 now. It's right between Upton and Smithville. I'm not seeing any hail. I've seen 1 lightning strike with this in the past 5 minutes. So it's not a tall storm, meaning it will not have strong winds that are in excess of 100 miles per hour, which is good. That's a good indication. We do have that tornado warning just north of us has now been extended until 11:15. So I know it's a lot to keep up with, so I'm going to go ahead and give you an overview of it all. We have a tornado watch in place. That tornado watch is what you see in yellow. The tornado watch simply means that our environment is capable of producing a storm that rotates. We're not seeing that everywhere. Our environment is just capable of it. Right now, we just have the heavy rain in Williamson, Travis, Hayes County, even some lightning, but not very much of it that I've seen in our area. If you're in the Hill Country, if you are in Mason County or anywhere west of Burnett and Blanco County, you're in the clear. What we're looking at now, what we're focusing on, is the heavy rain extending from Georgetown along I-35, includes Austin, Buda, areas of southern Hayes County, just south of Wimberley is where I'm seeing a rather significant downpour there with quite a bit of lightning. But we're also watching active warnings. So a watch means that our environment is capable of producing this tornadic activity. A warning means that the threat is already there. And we've been watching these 2 areas of rotation, really several areas of rotation, but now, at the moment, just 2 areas of rotation with 2 active warnings. The active warnings do include Bastrop and a small sliver of Lee County. So Lee County, basically between Giddings along Highway 77 north of Giddings, where it intersects at Lincoln, that's the area of Lee County that this is including. I'm going to go ahead and show you that velocity one more time. Yeah, so between Page and Giddings, I am seeing this rotation weaken significantly. It's great. This means that we will continue to see this weekend, hopefully. This is the rotation between Page and Giddings. We have another rotation, quite significant, right between Bastrop and Smithville. This is by far the strongest circulation on radar at the moment. This is in northern Bastrop County. This is a strong thunderstorm that is producing quite the rotation right between Bastrop and Smithville. This is in the county of Bastrop. This is moving north and east at about 20 miles per hour. So I'm going to take a zoom here because every update that we get shows you a different snapshot, and we just got another update here. This is along Highway 71, again, right between Smithville and Upton. This is over Highway 71 now. This is, or at least the rotation, is about 3 to 5 miles north and west of Smithville. Let me show you an update on how far it is from Bastrop, the city of Bastrop. This is to the south and east, about 5 to 6 miles away from the city of Bastrop. Let's see. All right, this is definitely showing some strong indication of circulation in this area. So if you have friends out here, be sure that they know, give them the heads up. This is moving northwest at about 20 miles per hour. I'm going to show you here, let's see, let's look at the rainfall. I am seeing some lightning there. I am also seeing an inflow, which is also an indication of this kind of ramping back up just a tad. So whenever we have an inflow like this, it means that this storm is kind of gaining more energy and it will continue to rotate. So I'm expecting this to still be rotating here in the next 5 to 10 minutes. The time right now is 10:59 and we still have 2 active warnings in Bastrop County. There is one rotation, one of the rotations, our northern rotation between Page and Giddings, does look like it's broadening or weakening, but this is still an active warning. This warning will be in place until 11:15. Just to the south of that, the stronger rotation, this is an active tornado warning in place until 11:30. So this is a very strong indication of rotation, and like I mentioned, at least the strongest that I've seen so far. I'm going to take a quick view of some different parameters here, see if I can see anything else for you. Yeah, that rotation's still pretty significant there. Let's go ahead and put another track on this. I know it's been about 5-10 minutes since I've done that for this particular part of the storm. So again, right along Highway 71 between Smithville and Bastrop, moving north and east at about 20 miles per hour. This particular storm expected to make it to Page, the circulation is around 11:36. Long Branch School, this is in Lee County, at 11:50. This will continue to track north and east at 20 miles per hour. And we now have confirmation of our second tornado of the day. Now, this particular part of the storm that I'm talking about right now is now confirmed. I know we talk about tornado warned storms. Sometimes we say radar indicated, sometimes we say confirmed. Radar indicated means that we've only seen it on our screens. We've only seen it on radar, that there is strong indication of rotation. But the National Weather Service has now confirmed this tornado, and this was located near Smithville. This was just to the north and west of Smithville. So a confirmed tornado northwest of Smithville, moving northeast at 20 miles per hour. And this was confirmed just 1 minute ago. So this is still very much a dangerous storm. If you have family, if you have relatives, if you yourself live in eastern Bastrop County, You want to make sure you are taking cover. You want to go to your safe spot. We talk about safe spots quite often. That means the innermost portion of your home in a steady structure. You want to go to the bottom level of your floor. You want to make sure you have as many walls between you and the outside as possible. At my house in particular, that means our laundry room. Sometimes it's a closet underneath a staircase. You want to make sure you are in that part of your home. Again, this is in Bastrop County. If you're joining us from a different county, maybe you are west of us. I know it probably looks scary outside because of the heavy rainfall, the strong wind gusts, but right now the strongest storm in our area is in eastern Bastrop County along Highway 71, where there has been a confirmed tornado. That means eyes have seen it, not just on radar, but people have seen this between Smithville and Bastrop, moving north and east at 20 miles per hour. The report was about 1.5 miles northwest of the Smithville airport, if that gives you an indication, a better indication of where this is. So that movement that you saw there, that's a new scan that we just got in. So I'm going to look at rotation, still very much there. I'm going to take another quick zoom, see if I can see any more roads to help you out with this rotation. Let's see. Ann Powell Road, Park Road 1C, along Highway 71 in eastern Bastrop County. This is where the strongest part of the storm, the strongest storm in our area is at the moment. You want to make sure to take cover. Again, this is moving north and east. So if you're in Upton, you're in the clear with the rotation, but you probably still have some heavy rain. Clearview, you are in the clear. Smithville, this is south of you. So anywhere, if you are, let's see, let me draw this line for you. If you are now south of this line, so Upton, Clearview, Smithville, you're in the clear. I'm giving you a check mark. You're fine. But north of Highway 71, this is the strongest part of the storm. This is where we are seeing the strongest rotation. It's where you see the green and the red touching. That's where we have a strong couplet. A couplet is what I look for whenever we are looking for tornadic activity. Another quick zoom out. There is another tornado warned storm, and this is between Page and Giddings. Now this is not confirmed. This is radar indicated. I know this is confusing because they're so close to each other, but this is now on the Bastrop-Lee County line, moving towards the north and east at 20 miles per hour. It's just to the north of 290, right where 290 crosses Bastrop and Lee County line. This is over Highway 21, and this is just to the south and west of Lincoln. I'm going to show you how far from Lincoln it is, that rotation. It's about 6 miles south and west of Lincoln. This is not confirmed. This is just on radar. There's just a strong signature of rotation there, but by far the strongest indication of rotation is along Highway 71 between Bastrop and Smithville, where we do have a confirmed tornado. There is a risk for seeing some hail within this, but I have not seen any popping up on radar, at least. That little gray circle that you see there, that's an indication of maybe seeing some hail also within the storm, but this does not have a history of producing hail. It's just something else to be on the lookout for. Let's see. We are also dealing with the heavy rain threat. So this is a tornado warned storm where there is a confirmed tornado along 71 between Smithville and Bastrop. This tornado warning in place until 11:30. On top of the threat of a tornado, there is also the potential for some gusty winds on the outer skirts of this storm. So not just where the circulation is, but Smithville, it's probably still very windy there. Bastrop, still very windy there, but you are not under the threat for that particular rotation. Heavy rainfall, also the biggest concern. We talked about this all morning long, that threat for heavy rain with any of these storms that develop. this particular system is moving into an environment that's very humid. We saw that humidity just kind of crank all the way up yesterday after a beautiful weekend. That south wind kicked up. It got really windy, and that windy south wind brought in the humidity from the Gulf. So we have plenty of moisture to work with in terms of that heavy rainfall production across areas of Bastrop County. I'm going to take a quick zoom out and be on the lookout for other areas because, of course, we are under a tornado watch, not just a couple of warnings in central Texas. So a tornado watch simply just means that areas in yellow here, including Blanco, Hays, Travis, and Williamson counties, including Caldwell, Bastrop, Lee, and Fayette County, all under a tornado watch. What this means is that any storms that move into this area or develop in this area have the potential to rotate. And because of how the environment is set up today, these rotations can quickly come and they quickly go away. And that's what we saw very frequently in Bastrop County for the last 2 to 3 hours. So kind of just these small spin ups that keep coming and going. The exception being the current tornado warned storm. Again, a watch means that our environment is favorable for it, but a tornado warned storm, meaning that the threat is already there, the threat is imminent, and that is for the storm just north of Smithville now. So this is continuing to move off towards the north and east, where there was a confirmed tornado, and that confirmed tornado was to the north and west of Smithville. I'm going to see here if I can pull up exactly where that was seen. Okay, I don't have that notification just yet, but the report came out of northwest Smithville, which is right along here, as this continued to move towards the north and east. So I'm still seeing a pretty significant rotation there. This is north now of 71. North of Highway 71. This is to the east of Bastrop. It's about right from the middle of Bastrop, about 7-8 miles east of Bastrop, moving north and east at 20 miles per hour. I do believe we have another area to talk about here. 1 second. Do you see that green box there? That is now a flood advisory. A flood advisory is in place for Hays and Travis County until 2:15. So we've seen some very high rainfall rates across areas of the I-35 corridor, including Travis and Hays counties. And this is going to be in place until 2:15. So basically this was set in place because of that heavy rainfall. We could see some urban and small stream flooding in this area. Rain between 1 to 2 inches have already fallen, and we're still seeing rain in that area. So this is definitely something to take note of. This is not something you want to be out on the roads for. We are seeing that heavy rain extending from Austin down towards Buda along I-35. And again, this is a flood advisory in place for Travis and Hays County. It includes Austin, Kyle, Lakeway, Pflugerville. So definitely want to make sure to keep that in mind, is that we are dealing with heavy rain on top of that tornadic threat. And again, the only active tornado warnings lie in Bastrop and Lee counties at the moment. If you're in Travis and Hays County, maybe you do have an alarm that went off. Hopefully you have our KVUE app that sends you push alerts, push notifications with any of this bad weather. You probably had your phone go off, and it's because of the flood threat, which is the threat, honestly, that is going to include most people in our viewing area. Most people will see a flood threat before we see a tornadic threat. The tornadic threat are those are very isolated events, while the flood threat is more widespread. And we see that right now. We see that in Travis and in Hays County. So again, we do have an active tornado warning until 11:30 for Bastrop and Lee County. That is a significant rotation that we saw just to the west of Smithville. It's now north of Smithville. It will continue to trek northeastward Right now, still moving at about 20 miles per hour, and this will continue to move into Lee County. We do have another storm. That storm that has been between Page and Giddings, it doesn't look like it's been moving too much. We do have some rotation still left in that. Let's go ahead and take a look here at that rotation north of Page. Still seeing it. It's not as strong as the Smithville rotation, but just to the north and east of Page. This is now in Lee County. We have a rotation, and that is for a tornado warning storm. For that warning, that will be in place until I believe 11:30. So we're still watching that tornadic threat there. We do have eyes out there ourselves. Our storm chaser is out getting a check on our roadways and just taking a look at our sky. And here you can see that very heavy rainfall. Our storm chaser just out. And again, our storm chaser is out, I'm assuming, in Travis County. And this is an area where we do have that area flood advisory. So just keep in mind, it's not just a tornadic threat we're dealing with this morning. It is also a big flood threat, and we have a lot of moisture to work with. So heavy rain falling down there. I can see a little bit of pooling on the sides of the road. I can also see some rain falling down at a good rate. By good rate, I mean a heavy rate. So it makes it difficult to see out there. So I appreciate that storm chaser being our eyes out on the roads for us, so that you don't have to be out and about in this. So thank you so much. That storm chaser there. We do have a look at radar here. This is a look across our entire area. We are in the clear in the hill country. If you are in Mason, Llano counties, even if you're in Fredericksburg, we're looking at clear conditions now as far as any of the rain goes. We look at satellite here. Still seeing some cloud cover over in that area. But I'm going to zoom out just to kind of show you why we're seeing this particular system moving through. And you might be able to see that large scale. It's what we call a mesoscale convective system here. It kind of makes like a comma shape, and it's spinning just a little. So that spin is just enough spin to go against our southerly winds that we had early on. And that's the reason why a few of our storms have been rotating. That add in the fact that there's just a lot of moisture, and that's the reason why we're seeing a lot of rainfall, heavy rainfall along the I-35 corridor. That is why we do have flood advisories in place across Travis and Hays County. I'm not seeing any lightning out there in Travis and Hays County, which is good. That means we're not seeing any big hail threat in that area as well, which I'm looking at now, and that's some good news for our I-35 friends there. But still, two very active areas of rotation in Bastrop and in Lee County. This is just north of Smithville is where we're seeing the strongest of the rotation. Now this particular storm is warned until 11:30, and I promise I will stay with you until this storm is no longer warned. Because it's a scary situation. I mean, heavy rainfall, really strong wind gusts along this area, definitely a cause for concern, especially with this particular storm. We did have a confirmed tornado. We do not have eyes on it at the moment, so it does not mean that this is still on the ground. This is the type of system where it kind of brings down funnels and just as quickly brings them back up. So we are still seeing a strong signature, a strong rotation in this area, but we are but we are still seeing this moving towards the north and east. Another area to watch is now north of Page, just to the east of Lincoln. Let's see if I can see. Here we go. Just to the east of Lincoln, still seeing a little bit of rotation there. I had to change radar. Sometimes you have to switch over a radar just to kind of get a better idea of where this is all at. This is, let's see, just to the west of Lincoln. Yeah, it's not a very tall thunderstorm at all, so I'm not seeing any hail embedded within this, but I'm still seeing just a tad bit of rotation in this particular storm. There you can see the really bright color. It's It's not red, which is good, but we are still seeing some high wind speeds in this area. Winds in excess of 40, 50 miles per hour. This one in particular at about 40 miles per hour in this area. So this is still trekking towards the north and the northeast at about 20 miles per hour. And there you can see that other really bright rotation there. So we have two areas that we're watching just north of Smithville. The other one is just to the west of Lincoln and Lee County, just to the west of 71, if you know where that is, in western Lee County. Both of these moving towards the north and east at 20 miles per hour. I do want to put a storm track on the storm in Lee County just because we haven't done that here. And we are moving into closer towards a highway. Northeast, here we go, 20 miles per hour. Okay, Leo, 11:37 a.m. Pleasant Grove Church, 11:59. Sulphur Springs School at 12:06. This is all in Lee County, maybe even going into our neighboring county there. So this is just a time lapse of, or a timeline of when we could see that rotation make it to that particular area. This is 11:18, your time right now. It's 11:18, and I'm expecting it in the Leo area around 11:37. Pleasant Grove Church around 11:59. These are just a few landmarks for you to take note of. I don't know, you might live by there somewhere. Going back to this other strong rotation in Bastrop County now, I'm also going to put a storm track on this for you. I'm going to switch over the views here. There we go. So we still have this active warning until 11:30, and this storm's still moving towards the northeast at about 20 miles per hour. There we go. Bluff Creek Church around 11:46. Lincoln around noon. Your time now is 11:18. Leo around 12:12. So these storms are kind of following each other back to back. Not just the heavy rain, but also the really strong winds. That's just something to keep in mind if you are maybe planning on going out. I strongly suggest against it. The strongest rotation in Bastrop County is moving towards Highway 290. So that's an area that has already seen some strong rotation move over it. So this moving over 290 right between Page, right between Giddings, right along the Bastrop-Lee County line. And this is a particular warned storm that did have a confirmed tornado, and that tornado was spotted just to the northwest of Smithville, and it's the second confirmed tornado of the morning, at least for our area. We won't know for sure until all this is said and done and the National Weather Service goes out and surveys these particular areas. But for now, on radar, what our tools are, we are looking at strong indication of rotation still just north of Smithville. If you are in Smithville at the moment, you are experiencing the light rain. I know you have also experienced very heavy rain here in the last 2 hours. You've been hit by a couple of very strong thunderstorms that had heavy rain and very strong winds. Know that the light rain is there and it's clearing out in the next 20 to 30 minutes for you. We could see additional development south of you, but for the moment, I'm not seeing it. So it's a little bit of a breather for our friends in Smithville there. Two still active warnings. The time now is 11:20, so these warnings are still in place for another 10 minutes unless the National Weather Service does decide to extend these warnings. I'm going to pan out here because we do have other advisories in place. We do have a flood advisory that includes Travis and Hays County. I'm not seeing any lightning in the area at the moment, but I did see a little pocket of lightning about 10 minutes ago south of Wimberley. Wimberley, you're just experiencing the light to moderate rainfall now, but that heavy rain is lining itself up along Interstate 35 between Austin and, let's see, Buda, also seeing some of that heavy rain. Mustang Ridge, I believe that's a neighborhood along 183. Let's see, another quick zoom in here. Southeast Austin, experiencing the heavy rainfall. If you live along 183, you are also experiencing the heavy rain between 35, 183 at Montopolis, also experiencing the heavy rain. Light rain along Mopac and 360. Our friends in Williamson County, We're seeing the moderate to light rainfall as well. It's starting to lighten up quite a bit. And our friends in the hill country, you're in the clear. We're not seeing anything popping up around your area. Now, something else to note is that south of us, this is outside of our viewing area, but south of us near San Antonio, it has been very active as well, not just with the heavy rainfall, but also seeing a few severe warned storms. What this means is that this is something that we have to stay on top of, because these storms could very well progress into our area. These storms have shown some signs of rotation as well. That's why the tornado watch is in place until 5. And it includes a big portion of our area. It includes Williamson, Travis, Hayes County, Blanco County, and towards the east. So that's why we have to stay on guard. These are the type of storms that could look very non-threatening 1 minute and the next minute start showing signs of rotation. That's what happened this morning, actually. And these storms continue to track north and east for the most part. Okay, I'm looking here. This is still a warned storm. We have 2 active tornado warnings here for the next 7 minutes or so. I'm going to take another look, see how that rotation is looking. At last scan, that rotation was still significant, meaning it was still showing strong signs of rotation. And with the storm in particular, the one I'm circling here for you, with the storm just south of Page, we have seen strong rotation with it. It has a history of strong rotation. And in fact, when it was just to the west of Smithville, we had a confirmed tornado. As soon as it crossed, let's see, I don't want to get it wrong. As soon as it crossed 71, it had strong rotation and a confirmed tornado. Right now, it still looks like it has a good signature of rotation, meaning it's still there, very easy to see, south of Page as this continues to move north and east at about 20 miles per hour. The rotation that was just north of that, remember I told you it looks like it's following another thunderstorm? The rotation that it looks like it's following does still look like it's there. It's now north and west of Lincoln. Let's go ahead and see how far. It's about 5 miles northwest of Lincoln, but it is moving towards the northeast. So heading towards Lexington and then heading into towards Caldwell there. So just outside of our viewing area, heading towards the Brazos Valley and Highway 77 there. So this particular part of the storm moving north and east, 20 miles per hour. So Sulphur Springs School at about 12:02, so about 2 minutes after noon. Porter's Chapel around 12:09. Your time right now is 11:24. So just a heads up there. If you have friends in the Brazos Valley, tell them that some very active weather is headed in their direction. Going back to that other thunderstorm that is tornado warned. Again, this is now south of Page. This is the one that has a history of producing a tornado. It is still very much a strong indication of rotation. This is headed towards Highway 290, right between Page and Giddings. It's right on the Bastrop Lee County line. I'm also seeing some heavy rain along 290 in northern Bastrop County. Let's see. If you hear me go quiet for a second, I'm just reading an update from the National Weather Service. They're working hard on this just like we are here at KVUE, trying to gather this information for you. The National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning for Bastrop and Lee County until noon. So this warning has now been extended in time. It is no longer expiring at 11:30. It expires at noon now, and I of course will stay with you here as long as this is still a threat to our viewing area. This is a storm that is capable of producing a tornado. It has a history of producing a tornado, and we did see that when it was right to the west of Smithville. It's now south of 290, continues to track northeastward at 20 miles per hour. That part of it hasn't changed. It is located near Page, or just 10 miles west of Giddings, so right in the middle of the two. I'm going to zoom in for you. That looks like it's an active spot for us this morning. We did have a couple of storms that rolled through there. The most recent one is the one that is just south of Lexington. It came right between Page and Giddings, and it looks like this strong rotation, that storm capable of producing a tornado is moving in that exact same direction. Again, this is crossing Highway 290. I'm going to see if we have any, yeah, we have significant shear. What that means is that there is enough wind to power that rotation in the upper levels. We do have indication of a hail core. This does not mean that it is producing hail at the surface. It just means that there is a hail core within the storm, but it absolutely has some rotation, and I can see it there. I can see the red and I can see the green next to each other. That is, whenever I look at this scan in particular, this parameter, I'm looking at wind speeds and the direction of winds, and wind there is going in opposite directions. That's a strong indication of rotation in that area. So I want to highlight areas that are in the clear from the rotation in Bastrop County. I know Bastrop County has been very active today, but if you are in the city of Bastrop, you're in the clear. We're just experiencing some heavy rain there at the moment, or some light rain now. It has cleared out. Cedar Creek, I know it's been an active morning for you as well. We are looking at light rain at the moment. We are still experiencing heavy rain in Travis and in Hayes County. So that's definitely something to be watching for. All right, we're looking, taking a live picture here. I believe we're still in Travis County. Our storm chaser is out and about checking on the roadways for us. It is looking very dark outside, considering it is 11:30 in the morning. We are still, I'm glad that our storm chaser is taking it slow. We're still seeing a little bit of pooling there on the sides of the road. Still seeing some of that light to moderate rainfall now, but still kind of hard to see out there. So this is not something that you want to be out and about, especially not something that you want to be driving in. So again, we do have 2 active tornado warnings, and we still have a flood advisory in place. That flood advisory extends from Travis County down towards Hayes County. It includes Austin, it includes Kyle, it includes Buda. Our friends in Williamson County still seeing some moderate to light rainfall, and this is mostly along I-35. Leander getting some light rain at the moment, but not seeing anything severe there. I'm not seeing any lightning there either. We will continue to keep an eye on this flood threat. We talked about this big old system coming through, and this was all kind of left over from storms that developed in areas of West Texas yesterday. So this is still going on. So what happened was we had these storms develop in West Texas yesterday. These storms continued to trek eastward, and as they did, it ran into a little bubble of energy that gave it enough to start rotating. So we had a big mesoscale convective system, and a mesoscale convective system, and that's kind of what gave us the energy to continue to see these storms. And this interacted with a lot of that Gulf moisture that we saw kind of increase quite a bit yesterday, and that's the reason why we're experiencing the heavy rain today. And we still have quite a bit of moisture left in our atmosphere. So the 1 to 2 inches of rain that we've already seen in Travis and in Hayes County, that's just a tad bit of it. We still have enough moisture in our atmosphere to still see additional rainfall, which is why the National Weather Service went ahead and issued that flood advisory. And that does include Pflugerville, by the way. Take another quick update over here. We do have 2 active tornado warnings. We have 1 warning that is in place until noon. It includes Bastrop and Lee County. Giddings and Lexington are included in this warning. So I'm going to zoom in here and show you the rotation within this. Very strong rotation. Here, this is along 290 and 71, right where they intersect, just to the southwest of Page, and just to the southeast of Page, and to the west of Giddings. This continues to move northeastward. It does look like we have some spotters out there. Spotters are usually working with the National Weather Service, and they're kind of the eyes of the Weather Service on the side of radar, obviously. And it does look like they are also seeing a wall cloud. They are seeing some lowerings there. So this is still very much a dangerous storm just to the southeast of Page, right between Page and Giddings. I know this is an area that's already been hit with a strong storm. If you have any friends, if you have any relatives in this area, make sure that they are aware that there is bad weather in the area. We do have some lightning now being indicated with this, which means that there's a good indication of, yep, we have some hail in this as well. The hail being produced in this thunderstorm could be, let's see here, at least quarter sized, yep, quarter to dollar sized hail possible with this storm. Of course, there's probably some melting going on there. It's still a warm environment and quite a bit of lightning, but of course the big threat there is the rotation and the strong winds that are coming out of the storm. So the rotation is still very much there. It's a strong indication of rotation. I'm going to take another zoom in here so I can show you some of the streets that are right underneath it. So again, this is crossing 290. This is moving in that direction towards Lincoln. Along FM 2104 is where we have that indication of rotation. So that's definitely somewhere to keep in mind, somewhere to be thinking about. And this is heading towards Highway 41. We do have quite a bit of heavy rainfall along this area as well, on top of the strong winds. And that rotation, yes, it's right over FM 2104, but the strong winds are going to extend quite a bit away from the center of circulation, meaning we're going to see strong winds extending all the way in towards Lincoln, all the way towards Giddings as the storm moves in that direction. And it is moving in that direction. Every scan shows it closer and closer across 290 and headed towards Lincoln. This particular storm has a history of producing a tornado. That means eyes have actually seen a touchdown with this particular storm. You want to make sure that your friends and family are aware in this area. Make sure that they are in their safe spot. Make sure they're tuned in to KVUE. Hopefully those apps are popped up on the screens so you can see it, just in case the power goes out, because I know this happens in those situations. And I keep saying safe spot over and over. What that means is that the lower floor of your home, sturdy structure, you want to put as many walls between you and the outside as possible and away from windows. If you have something to cover your head, that is also the best situation to be in under these circumstances. Again, this is a strong storm and it has the capability of producing a tornado. In fact, it has produced a tornado here just to the south of where that current rotation is. There was a confirmed tornado near Smithville whenever that storm was moving that way. I'm going to show you a time lapse of how that evolved. So this is around 11, and you can see that circulation there near Smithville. And then as it progresses in time, it continues to strengthen and move towards Page. You can see that little red knob there. That continues moving north and east at about 20, and that will continue to take the same track. So it's moving in this direction just like this. It went over 71, it will go over 290, it will go over 41 towards Lincoln, towards Steinbach's, just south of Lexington. So that's just something to remember there. It's taking that same track, that same direction. This is a tornado warned storm until noon. We do have another warning to talk about, and this is over Lee County. This is just south of Tanglewood, right over Lexington. This is in place until 11:45, so for another 10 minutes or so, as this continues to move and progress towards the north and east at about 20 miles per hour. On top of the strong winds that this storm is producing, heavy rain also very likely right over Lexington, as we can see there with the really bright red colors. That's a good indication of it. I'm going to take another zoom out so I can show you how far away this is. It's not very far from the Austin Metro. We do have flood advisories in place for Travis and Hays County, but it looks like the bulk of that activity is moving along the eastern edge of our counties now. So just to the east of I-35. So our commuters along 35 not dealing with lowered visibility as much. Still very active south of Hays County, just to the north of San Antonio. That's another area to just be watching for, because that is also moving in that same direction. So this is far from over. We're going to continue to see heavy rainfall over the same area, which obviously leads to that potential for a big flood risk, a big flood concern. The time now is 11:37, and we have been tracking tornado warned storms since about 9 this morning. So it's been about 2.5 hours, and these are for the most part short-lived. However, we do have one particular storm that has shown strong signs of rotation over the past hour, and this is that same storm that moved over areas of Highway 304, areas of Highway 290, just to the north of Smithville. And I can show you that here. This is around 11. You can see it there moving into that red box, that really bright color there. That's where we're seeing the strong rotation. I'm still seeing kind of an inflow there. So any new scan that we get, I'm still expecting that circulation to absolutely be there. And it does look like it has continued to move up towards the north and east. So now past Highway 290, headed towards Highway 21, headed towards Lincoln, moving towards the north and east. Another sign of rotation over towards Lexington, moving towards the northeast at about 20 miles per hour. This is headed towards Tanglewood along 77. So 77, if you're between Lexington and Tanglewood, you want to make sure you are in your safe spot. You want to make sure that you are staying weather aware. Heavy rain, strong winds, and rotation being seen right over Lexington as we speak. I haven't had any reports out of Lexington, however, but this other storm that's currently between Page and Giddings, this is that big storm that we have been seeing some reports of a history of producing a tornado, and that was, say, about 30 minutes ago. So while it's showing a strong sign of rotation, we don't have a confirmation that there is still anything on the ground, but still certainly a strong storm producing strong winds, a lot of lightning, heavy rainfall. That heavy rainfall, especially between Page and Giddings, closer towards the Page area, right between 290 and Highway 21. So if you are in the town of Page, right in the middle of Page, maybe the outskirts of Page, you are only 2 to 3 miles away from that very heavy rainfall, and only about 3 miles away from the center of circulation of this very strong storm. On top of 2 active tornado warnings, again, one of those warnings in place until noon, we do have a tornado watch in place. A watch means that we are in an environment that is capable of producing thunderstorms that spin, and with any spinning storm, we get the potential of strong winds and even a quick tornado, as we've seen this morning. So the tornado watch means that it's just capable. There is not a threat yet. And this includes Blanco, Hays, Travis, Williamson, Caldwell, Bastrop, Lee, and Fayette counties. And it extends south of us into San Antonio. It includes portions of Interstate 10. So if you were thinking about getting on the road today, I would highly, highly reconsider it. This whole system is kind of headed towards the north and east, closer towards the Brazos Valley, but there is not an active watch there just yet. We do have active warnings, and again, warnings meaning that the threat is imminent, the threat is there, and we do have an update on one of our tornado warned storms here. We are going from a tornado warning to that storm that's right over Lexington to a severe thunderstorm warning. The difference is not big. The difference is just nomenclature. It's just the naming of it. This is still a strong storm. This is still a storm that is showing weak signs, very weak signs of rotation. But with weak signs of rotation comes strong wind gusts out ahead of the storm, and also comes heavy rainfall. So that's just something to keep in mind. Don't let your guard down if you're in Lexington, or if you're on the outer skirts of Lexington along 77, as this storm continues to trek north and eastward. Just south of that, we have a tornado warned storm right along 290 and 21, right between Page and Giddings. Let's go ahead and take a look at the update there with the velocity. Yes, still very much a strong signature of rotation right along there. So this storm has been hanging on quite a bit longer than what we normally see with these types of systems. And the good news is that we do have an expired tornado warning for Lee County. But I do believe they will continue it here for this particular part of the rotation. So just hang tight while the Weather Service does reissue that, because I do still believe that they will continue the warning for this part of the storm. The storm has now moved out of Bastrop County, or at least the rotation of the storm has moved out of Bastrop County and is now in Lee County. This warning still continues until noon. It's right where I've circled there in pink is where we are seeing the strong part of the storm with some lightning and of course some heavy rainfall. So this warning should be trimmed here any minute now, and Bastrop should be out of the warning, which is always good news, because Bastrop has been very active the last couple of hours. Not to let our guard down, because we are still watching for heavy rainfall along Interstate 35 in Hayes County and just to the east of 35 in Travis County. We still have the flood advisory, and that will be in place until 2:15. I know that feels like a long time, but it just takes a really long time for some of this water to recede in that area. So if you are maybe thinking about headed to the grocery store or something like that, I would definitely reconsider if you're in Travis or Hayes County. The roads just are not great, and we do have that the storm chaser out looking at our roadways for us. We are looking, we had limited visibility out there. We had some pooling on the side of the roads, and you just know, you know what it's like out there when it rains heavy. We definitely see quite a bit of pooling, especially on the highways. So we were talking about a confirmed tornado in Bastrop County, and we told you that we had eyes on it. Well, we do have a video showing that, and I believe we have that video for you, and it is going to be pulled up right here. This is, I got to get a closer look at it myself. This is my first time seeing it. This is thanks to Valerie Herman, and this is that tornado. Wow, you can see there is a definite lowering, there's definite rotation, and you could even see there that tree that's close to the camera. See how it's kind of moving towards the tornado? Whoever was taking this video, Valerie, was in what we call the inflow part of that tornado. So definitely a scary sight to see there. I'm surprised that she was able to see it. She's on the correct side to see it, because if she was standing on the other side, she would have seen some very heavy rain, and she would have also not been able to see that significant lowering. So just an impressive video there. Again, this was in Bastrop. This was the first confirmed tornado. This is the first confirmed tornado. Thank you to Valerie for sending this in. Just definitely a dangerous sight, and this is still ongoing. We have Jason Michael in house. Jason, I know that this is kind of you know, one of those things where these spin-ups are just kind of popping up. What else are you seeing out there?
Yeah, you know what, Marielle, this is a very interesting situation. You've been doing wonderfully all morning long. We've been talking exactly why this has been happening. Of course, I have to tell you that this is severe weather season month, the height of it. No doubt. So we do have those three tornado warnings that we had in effect earlier this morning. The one that you see here in Bastrop and Lee County, it goes until noon today. So we still have just about 14 more minutes there. We can see where this storm is really edging itself, moving towards the Gidding area. It's been tracking along Bastrop County, and Bastrop County has had a lot of moisture and a lot of energy and a lot of convection the past couple hours. We started out with the severe thunderstorm warnings, then they moved into the tornado warnings. And at one time, of course, we did have those three warnings. We're going to do a bit of a reassessment for you right now, but I do want to indicate that we do have some flooding risk as well, not just the tornadoes, but we have to talk about the flooding risk. Mario was talking about hail as well, so you're seeing some hail located in the height of these storms as well. And also, there are some power outages to talk about. I was coming through North Austin, headed into the station just now, and noticed that there are power outages along Palmer Lane. So in North Austin, no warnings there, however, power outages are there. So this is a widespread event where some people are experiencing power outages, others are experiencing some flooding issues, and also the tornado warning. So again, on the screen right now, you can see that tornado warning in effect for portions of Bastrop and Lee County until 12 noon today. Let's zoom out for you right now and show you the wider picture of what's been happening here. So we do have some storms behind that we're watching coming through the New Braunfels area south on 35. As these storms move north and east and south of the city, they could also be trending some energy as well, moving through areas south. In addition to that, although we do have the warnings, we do also have some watches in effect. So a tornado watch is in effect. You can see that shaded in the yellow. That tornado watch is in effect until 5 p.m. this afternoon. That does not mean that we're going to have energy going through 5 p.m. We're just going to have some ingredients likely that could produce a tornado warning. So this is the information that we have in from National Weather Service indicating that. So let's hone in on these warnings for you right now and show you exactly what's happening here. We do have the storm chaser en route right now over near the Bastrop County area. I wonder if we can pull up a live video as they're moving and grooving through that area. And we want to provide some live pictures for you as well while we're doing this coverage for you, so you can see where exactly this storm chaser is. It is in Bastrop County. I'll try to get a location for that for the storm chaser as it's moving through. Bastrop County, no stranger to severe weather. And then we also have that video coming in from Valerie Harmon as well. So the bigger picture of what we're expecting today, not only the activity for the tornadoes, for the thunderstorms that could likely produce a spin-up tornado, but also the flooding risk as well. We've had rainfall accumulations across the area, certainly pulling in anywhere from 1 to 2 inches. So in addition to that, we do have that flood advisory in effect across the region, and also the watches in effect as well. So let's zoom in on this right now and show you exactly what we have here, that tornado warning going until about 12 noon today. Storm chaser, just got a note, storm chaser is headed towards Smithville, so we'll keep a close eye on that for you as well. So the Page area, 290, 77, that is the area here where you can see that we do have that activity that as far as that tornado warning is in effect, trending eastward through the area. Route 77, Lincoln, Giddings, 290, Ledbetter, Northrop, also these locations east of this storm that could likely sustain a little bit of damage. I'm wondering, we'll also reach out to National Weather Service and see if they've had any debris lofted into the air. When you're talking about 15, 20,000 feet, that's when you're looking into possibility maybe an EF2, EF3 tornado, but also in the event that that happens, an assessment needs to be done in the wake of the storm moving on out. So up to the north of that, not only do we have that tornado warning, we also do have a severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect for portions of Lee County until 12:15. So let's not get confused about the two. Tornado warning, certainly it is a #1 top risk for us, but also the severe thunderstorm warning could be capable of producing a tornado as well. So we will be locating that and keeping a close eye on that. That goes until 12:15. So we still have roughly about 25 more minutes until that is allowed to expire, if it is allowed to expire. But the first and foremost, this tornado warning until 12 noon today for Lee County. This includes Lexington. Austin. Behind that, we still have a wall of water, so to speak, heading along and south and east of I-35. Most of the activity now trending just to the east of Buda and Kyle, to the east of San Marcos, to the north and west of Lockhart. So Cedar Creek, Bastrop, you're just not out of the game just yet because we do have more heavy rain headed your way. That flood advisory in effect until 2:15 this afternoon for Como counties, Hayes County, and Travis County. This includes Austin. Austin, you're not expecting a widespread, severe, heavy rain event. However, because we do have a lot of low-lying areas here in the Austin, Travis County area, that is why we have that flood advisory in effect. Let's go south now. This is outside our viewing area, but this could likely move north towards the Buda, Kyle, San Marcos area. Severe thunderstorm warning for Bexar, Como County until 12:15. But notice this orange polygon overlapping over on top of this tornado warning as well. So you can see where this is. Canyon Lake, Fisher, south of Wimberley. Wimberley, we always remember you for the flooding that you had. Excuse me, that was not a tornado warning, that's a flash flood warning until 2:30 for Comal County, until 2:30 this afternoon. So a bit of a melting pot of things going on here right now. So that flash flood warning, Starksville, Timberwood, south of our area, nonetheless, but a flood advisory stretching all the way north into the Austin metro area. So flash flood warning now in effect for Travis and Hayes County to 3 p.m. this afternoon.
Yeah, Jason, thank you so much for helping me out. I just had to go get some water there. So what we're seeing now is a flood warning. We talked about a flood advisory that was in place for Travis and Hayes County until 2:15. Well, now a small portion of that is now a flash flood warning. And I am going to step onto here, step in front of the map so I can show you, but we do have a flood warning. And basically the reason this was set in place is with that flood advisory, we did have anywhere between 1 to 2 inches of rain all along that area. But now that red box that you see there, that's now a flash flood warning, meaning additional rain has been falling over that same area that initially saw 1 to 2 inches. Heavy rainfall rates, the really bright red colors that you see there moving from west to east, that is heavy rain falling on top of an area that's already saturated. So you have a layer of water on the ground and then additional heavy rain on top. That gets you a flash flood warning. This includes Austin, Buda, Onion Creek, Shady Hollow, Sunset Valley, all of those neighborhoods included in this flash flood warning. And this will be in place until 3. So it kind of takes over that flood advisory that was set in place for Travis and for Hayes County. Now, these are areas that flood and flood quickly. We have seen that happen before. Jason mentioned Wimberley. This is just to the east, southeast of Wimberley where we're seeing the biggest threat. This does include Interstate 35 between Kyle and Austin. Flood advisory includes all of Hayes County, so Wimberley not in that flood warning, but still in that advisory that we were talking about earlier. That's in place until 2:15. It still looks like just south of Hayes County, San Antonio, another area that's been hit with these thunderstorms, strong storms. That activity is now moving towards us, and that activity, not just the heavy rainfall, but also the strong winds and even some storms in that area with signatures of rotation. So the time right now is 11:54. I believe we still have a tornado warning in place, and that was exiting Bastrop County into Lee County. You can see that in the bright red. It's right over Giddings. And this is an area, or this is a particular storm that was showing signs of rotation. It had a history of producing rotation kind of on and off for the last hour and a half. And it did have confirmed tornado with it. Jason, do you have an update for us?
I do have an update. I really want to go back to what you were mentioning as far as flash flooding is concerned. Flash flooding is a huge issue for us here in Central Texas because of the rocky surface that we have. And just in the past hour, We've had in South Austin near the Riverside Old Torf area over 1.5 inches of rainfall. When I'm looking at North Austin, let's talk about the UT area. Let's talk about East Austin, over 0.7 of an inch. We've had nearly 0.8 of an inch in North Austin. Even north of that, near the Y, you've had just about 1/2 inch of rainfall there. So this is not just a severe thunderstorm event. This is going to be a flooding event as well. So some of these areas that you're used to seeing have flooding issues, those are likely going to be the areas that continue to have flash flooding issues as well. So that tornado warning that Mariel was just issuing, just talking about, they have extended that until 12:30 today. They're saying it's a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado near the Giddings area, so they extended that downstream from that, moving northeast at about 20 miles per hour. So this is still an event that we really have to watch, especially for our eastern counties and our eastern residences. We don't want to say that this is a rural area where there's not a lot of people. Hey, there are still lives out there. There's still livestock out there. We have friends, family over there. So we have to pay close attention to them as well. So that's going to be extended through 12:30 today, and I'm going to be closely watching and see what that flooding issue looks like for the Austin metro area as well.
Yeah, and Jason, I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit more about these different areas. Because you mentioned that there is a severe thunderstorm warning, which is the yellow that you see there, but there's also a tornado warning, which is the red box that you see there. There is a difference in the two. The one that is highlighting areas of Lexington along 77 there, right on the northern edge of Lee County, that still had signatures of rotation. Remember, I've been telling you, it kind of starts to tighten up with that rotation, and you can see it very clearly, and then it broadens, meaning it weakens. Right now, it's in a stage of weakening, which is why we do have a severe thunderstorm warning on that. But the tornado warning, that is right over Giddings, that is progressing towards the north and east still. It's kind of following that first storm. It's moving towards Dime Box, and yes, like Jason said, it is a rural area, but there's still roads there, there's still property there, and absolutely, we still have lives there. So we are going to stay on this with you, talk you through this until it expires. And this particular one, the one that includes Lexington, is in place until noon. And not just the potential for that rotation, but also the heavy rain, also the strong winds, not just in that rotation, but on the outer skirts of it as well. That's something else that we watch for, are winds outside of the thunderstorm on top of the heavy rain threat that Jason mentioned, because yes, it is, we live in one of those areas where flooding is a big concern. Flooding is one of our main threats. It's one of the biggest threats that we see around this time of the year. And as far as any additional rain, we are still seeing some heavy rain kind of pushing through the Smithville area there, pushing towards Bastrop. Areas of Fayette County also saw some of that heavy rain along 290 as well. We have reports of a barn destroyed near, is it Busher State Park? Bush State Park. I'm still learning my state parks, y'all. We do have reports of a barn destroyed there, meaning there were very strong winds. Severe thunderstorm winds are in excess of 60 miles per hour. This particular storm was showing indications of winds in excess of 80 miles per hour. And we do know that winds of that strength are capable of destroying small buildings like barns. We are continuing to watch this, of course, this tornado warning in place until noon for Lee County and Lexington. Jason, do you have another update for us?
Yeah, I was going to add to that when you were talking about the damage and the barn being destroyed down there. We did get a report that a car had also been flipped, or cars, plural, have been flipped as well. We got the storm chaser headed there right now to provide some live pictures for us so we can see that too. And just to indicate exactly how much rainfall that we've had within the past few hours here, just within, let's say, the past hour or so, the most significant rainfall National Weather Service is saying is in central Comal County right now. So that is south of our area, south on 35, and they've had over 11 inches of rainfall. Mind-blowing. That is a lot of rainfall that we've had dumped in this area. We also often reference Wimberley and what they received and what they experienced a few years ago. So flooding issues are something that we cannot ignore here. That tornado warning that Mariela was mentioning and talking about has been extended until 12:30 today. So we are expecting to get a little bit more information out of this area. We have the storm chasers going out in this area as well, but as we get more information, just go ahead and relay that information on to your family members and friends. Don't have them run out. Don't have them to try to see what's happening here. As this heavy rain is falling, they're not going to be able to see anything that's happening. So make sure that they're in their safe place. Make sure that they got their phones charged up so they can get these weather alerts, advisories, and warnings that we're pushing out here on our KVUE app, and make sure that they know exactly where to go and what to do in the event that the storm is tracking near their area. Right now, that tornado warning in effect until 12:30 for Lee County. So let's talk about some of the roadways here in this area. Not a whole lot, of course. Giddings area, you can see there we have 290 down to the south. We have 21 near Lincoln. Lowball, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing, Route 77. Leo, Dime Box, we often talk about you when we're getting severe weather, especially this time of the month. Lexington and Tanglewood, you're outside of the tornado warning. However, you're inside the severe thunderstorm warning. So we don't want to ignore you as well. This severe thunderstorm warning, I will zoom in here so you can see that one. It still wants to talk about the tornado warning. That's okay. This severe thunderstorm warning goes until 12:15. So you can see that's where that sort of orangey polygon is, encasing Lexington and Tanglewood till 12:15. Tornado warning until 12:30 today. So we will talk about that. We're going to continue tracking that, at least while that's in effect, over the next 28 minutes. It is moving eastward, so we're expecting it to be outside of our area. But let's come down to the south. South of Austin, flash flood warning is in effect for Hays, Travis County until 3 p.m. today. Watches, warnings. We often like to describe this to the kids when we're doing school presentations. Let's imagine that we're making brownies. We have all the ingredients there, but the final product is not ready yet. That's a watch. Once the final product is ready, we're seeing it, we're smelling it, we're using all our senses, the brownies are ready to just dive right in. That's a warning. That means things are in effect, things are happening. So that's what we have as far as the flash flooding concerned right now. This is portions of Hays and Travis County until 3 p.m. today. All right, so not really to add or strengthen that threat, but outside of that, encasing the entire I-35 corridor stretching from Georgetown, Round Rock, Austin, all the way down to Buda, Kyle, San Marcos, is an aerial flood advisory. So we still have an additional need for flooding to be on the top of our radar. We do have a second video, I think, Mariel, that we have that we can show.
That first confirmed tornado, and this is heavy rainfall, and you can see there limited visibility. Do we know where this is out of? I don't have my IFB in because I kind of ran to the studio. This is in Austin. It does look like it. It does look like it, and you can see just how fast that water on the ground is moving. This is the type of danger that we're in the springtime. Whenever we're dealing with heavy rainfall, how fast that water moves, not just from the cloud to the ground, but how fast it moves on the ground itself. That almost looks like a river, and that's a sidewalk. This is the kind of water that can knock you off your feet. This is the kind of water that it doesn't take a huge depth to carry things like cars. That's why we always stress this when we're at school talks: turn around, don't drown. It's a phrase coined by the National Weather Service, and it's something that kind of sticks in your mind because this is the kind of danger that we run here. It's the kind of risk that we run here in Central Texas. It's the heavy rainfall leading to that flooding, and not just that, but limited visibility as well. You don't want to be caught on the roadways in something like this. And there it is, that flash flood warning, again until 3, including portions of Travis and Hays County, Buda, Austin, Onion Creek, Shady Hollow, and Sunset Valley, all included in that warning, on top of the advisory that includes the entire county of Travis and all of Hays County as well. And like Jason mentioned, I mean, flooding is one of the biggest threats, and we're not out of the woods yet. Even though the rain looks like it's kind of tapering off there in western Travis County and western Hays County, we do have more rainfall on the way. This is all part of a larger system that kind of developed to the south and west of San Antonio. I saw it swirling at around 2, 3 in the morning just to the south and west of us. And then eventually it did interact with a lot of that moisture that we had coming in from the south yesterday. You kind of felt it in the afternoon, right? It was so much more humid. It's so much more muggy out there. With all that moisture coming in from the south. When you have these storms moving from the west, you have that south wind coming up. That's where you got some rotation within a few of these thunderstorms. That's where we run the risk of seeing some of these rotating storms that eventually can produce these brief and sometimes long-lived spin-ups, as we saw there in Bastrop County and Lee County. Again, we still have quite a bit of rain. Canyon Lake there, seeing the really bright colors, that's indicating heavy rainfall. That's moving towards the north and east. North and east of that, it's Hays County, it's Travis County. These are our areas that have already seen a lot of rainfall in a small period of time. Jason, what was that rain total that you had mentioned earlier?
We've had rainfall just paint a broad stroke here and show you. So near the Travis Heights area, nearly 7/10 of an inch. Central East Austin, 0.72, over 7/10 of an inch. Let's look at near the UT area, just over a ½ inch of rainfall. North of that, 0.6 inches. When we look back towards the Terrytown area, just over 4/10 of an inch of rainfall. And even South Austin, let's talk about South Congress, stretching maybe 2-3 miles South Congress past Lady Bird Lake, over 1 inch of rainfall. So that's where the video that you saw there, that's where that very, very heavy rain is. And that's what happens constantly here in Central Texas when we get these downbursts of storms, putting out a lot of energy, put out a lot of rainfall. We get these quickly moving flash flooding types of events. And then boom, hour or so later, all that activity is gone, all that activity is moving out, and what we have left in the wake, we have some damage. So even if Travis County, Hays, Williamson County does not get us to a tornado warning today, we have some flooding issues that we're going to be talking about. Only a tornado warning that we have in effect is well east of the area near the Giddings area. And I said before, we don't want to ignore the people within this area. Your warning goes until 12:30 today. So we showed you Bush State Park, I believe, earlier. We showed you over near the Upton area. Our viewer Valerie Harmon sent that tornado video. And as well, we have the storm chaser out. The storm chaser is going to be moving to a different location near the Giddings area, and we're going to call for them as well. But I believe we also have another video that we need to show. This video now that you'll see here is in the Smithville area.
Impressive. This is obviously a lowering of that same cell that we have been tracking that moved over areas of Bastrop County into Lee County. This was a thunderstorm that kept producing these spin-ups, and this looks significant. This looks much larger when you have actual eyes on it versus on radar, but this was that storm that went right by, right between Page and right between Giddings as it moved towards the north and east. I believe there is still a tornado warning on this same storm until 12:30, so another 12 minutes or so. This is one of those storms that has the history of producing these type of low rings. You can see an obvious wall cloud there and just an eerie look there. You can see the lowering all the way down. This looks more like a still, but either way, it's definitely a scary sight there. Not just because of the fact that it's a tornado, but we have been seeing really strong winds in that area. We had that report of a barn being down along that area. So this is a storm that will continue to move off towards the north and west. This is showing you that one of the storms that is still severe thunderstorm warned, that will probably expire. But this is that thunderstorm that continues to trek north and northeastward. It's moving towards the Dime Box area, and I can still see an inflow there where we have some rotation along areas of Highway 77 and Highway 21. That's one of those. So that's something that we have to keep watching. Again, that tornado warning in place until 12:30 for Lee County.
And I was just going to add to that, Mariel, that severe thunderstorm warning for Lee County is going to roll off. National Weather Service is going to cancel that. It's going to roll off. Hey, that is a big thumbs up for us in the Lee County area. However, that tornado warning, as you were just saying, Mariel, that is until 12:30 today.
Okay, can we take a zoom in on that tornado warning? And go ahead and show me the velocity as well. I'm interested to see just how it's been shaping up here. And it does look still significant. It almost looks like another little rotation there starting to spark off the right side of this. And with these type of systems, we often see this, or we have rotation that kind of spins off of one other rotation, and this is kind of what we're seeing. So it's right now right over Lincoln. Over the past 3 hours, it's moved from the southwest towards the north and east. It almost followed Highway 71 here. It's that storm that I was staying with you here over the past 2 hours, where it had that history of dropping down tornadoes, confirmed tornadoes, and then moving as it towards the north and east. It crossed Interstate or Highway 290 between Page and Giddings, and it continued north, and it's right over Lincoln now. So if you are in and around the Lincoln area, be sure that you are in your safe spot. We still have this warned storm for another 20 minutes at least. It'll be out of our viewing area once it's on the other side of Dime Box, but Dime Box, you're right in the path of this. Jason, if you have a sec, can we put a track on this? It's moving northeast at 20 miles per hour at last check, and it looks like it has stayed pretty consistent with that. So moving towards the north and east, right towards Dime Box, and over towards the Brazos Valley, and that will continue. So it's right over Lincoln right now. The time is just about to be 12:12. It'll be over Dime Box around 12:40. So another 25 minutes or so. Over Hogg around 12:55. Deanville closer towards 1. So this obviously still taking a pretty steady pace towards the north and east, just like it has for the past 2 hours. And normally with these type of systems, I can see rotation strengthening, meaning you can see it really bright and kind of jumping off the screen, and then eventually it kind of settles back down. I have only seen this consistently strong. So I'm hoping to see this weekend here in the next couple of hours. But for the time being, it's headed into an environment that other storms have already been in. So I'm hoping that that means that it will weaken soon. But I haven't seen too much more in the way of lightning with the storm either, which is good. That is a good signature that it is weakening as well, but still a strong storm, still a rotating thunderstorm, and still a storm that has really high reflectivity, meaning really bright colors. It's still producing heavy rainfall, which is what most of us in Central Texas are seeing for this afternoon now, not just this morning. Jason?
Yeah, I think one of the things that we really try to emphasize with people here in Central Texas, Mariel, is we can forecast all day long exactly what's going to happen with these storms, and then Mother Nature just take us in a completely different direction. If you're watching Night Beat last night, if you were watching Mariel and I yesterday on daybreak, midday, and then the evening broadcast, we only had a marginal risk. There was only a 1 out of 5 risk. And what happened this morning was we had a lot of energy come in from the southeast. We had those southeasterly winds. We had a lot of moisture available. And apparently we had a lot of convection and energy available too, to spark off some rotation with some of these storms, to spark off some energy. And so that's what allowed for these storms to really bubble up. At one point this morning, Mariel was on and she was talking that we had 3 tornado warnings just within the Bastrop County area. And as a result of that, we've had a report of a barn being destroyed. We had reports of cars being flipped as well. And I just got a report of some trees down at Hidden Shores. That's near FM 2571. That's over near the Smithville area. Also in Upton, we had a video come in from a viewer, Valerie Harmon. She sent a video of a tornado down that way as well. And we've also had reports of other damage as well within that specific area. On top of that, let's do a little bit of a reset and go out to the wider scan. We'll hone back in on this tornado warning. We still have about 15 minutes left on that. But I just want to kind of paint you the picture, a little bit of a broad stroke of what we're experiencing here for the rest of Central Texas. Mason, Llano, Gillespie County over near the hill country, you're pretty much quiet at this hour. You don't have a whole lot of activity happening over near your area at all. You also probably have some sunshine over there. But as you work your way towards the Blanco, Burnett County area, we intensify the cloud cover, we intensify the rainfall, and that stretches all the way down through our Tri-County area. And you can see that behind me. So this polygon that we have here, that's that flash flood warning for portions of Travis and Hayes County until 3 p.m. today. 3 p.m. So another 2 hours and 45 minutes. In and around that, this green that you could perhaps see here, that is that aerial flood advisory. That is in effect, I believe, until 5 p.m. this afternoon. So even though the severe thunderstorms may or may not move out, which we're getting all the indications that they're going to be moving out, we're still going to have heavy rain funneling behind that as well. 1 to 2 inches. This is what Mariela and I was talking about yesterday. 1 to 2 inches, and we've certainly been seeing that. Down near the Comal County area, they've had reports over 11 inches of rainfall. That is a lot of water, So we're going to be keeping a close eye on that south in the area and see exactly what sort of damage is in to follow that as well. So this one you see here, again, that's that tornado warning until 12:30 this afternoon, okay? 12:30 this afternoon. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on that, watching that. And if we get any more videos coming in from the storm chaser, we'll relay that on to you as well. It always makes a difference when you can just kind of use those extra senses to see. You can hear us talking, but to see exactly what's happening, that can certainly keep you and yours safe, because Mother Nature is not something to mess with. Mariel?
Yeah, Jason, you were talking about just how Mother Nature can kind of throw curveballs at us, and I'm going to show you why it was so difficult to forecast this. So this is just a big view of what's going on in Central Texas. We talked yesterday all day. We told you about the storms that were firing up in West Texas yesterday afternoon. Well, they gained enough energy right along this area to develop what we call a mesoscale convective vortice. And that's what we're seeing right here. You can kind of see it's kind of like a comma shape, and you can see it rotating in a big way. Well, these storms were moving from southwest to northeast. Our winds consistently out of the south, those winds were feeding these storms all of this moisture, all of this energy. And on top of that, these winds were going in a different direction. So it kind of helped rotate some of these storms as well. That's why these spin-ups are popping up this morning and this afternoon. That's why we're seeing not just that, but also the heavy rain. This consistent south wind still ahead of these storms, it's still feeding all of these storms, which is why the flood threat is going to continue for us, not just for areas of San Antonio, but north of San Antonio along 35 in and around the Austin metro. That's why Jason has been talking about that flood concern all day long, really. And that's why we still have very heavy rainfall along areas of Travis, Hayes County, Caldwell, even Bastrop County now getting another dose of heavy rain. Bastrop County, the most active county of the morning, and it's looking like we will see at least a break. We only have some light rain in central Bastrop County, but some heavier rain along the western edge of it, and it looks like some of that heavier rain is moving in that direction. That's the big problem with storm systems like this. It rains very heavy over the same area over and over again. That's what we call training, and that's exactly what's happening this afternoon now along I-35. Not just that, but we also still have that tornado watch in place. That watch going to be in place for Williamson, Travis, Hayes, Blanco County, and it includes our southeastern counties, so areas of Bastrop, Caldwell, Fayette County, Lee County, all included in this until 5 this afternoon. Meaning, while the warnings are kind of starting to dwindle away for most of us here, we are still going to be looking for signs of rotation in and around this area. Let's look at the temperatures. These storms have kind of blown through the Austin metro. I forecasted a high of about 78 degrees today. Yeah, we're not getting there. Those storms came through and continued to cool us off. We're at 66 now. Look at Waco, 77, Houston, 79 degrees. That's a big temperature difference. So the more east these storms move, the more they're going to feed into not just the moisture from the Gulf, but also the energy from that heat. So that's why we do still have that tornado watch in place, and it'll be in place until 5. I would not be surprised, Jason, if we see that extended along east of us at least for later this evening.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it certainly has a whole lot of possibility of being extended as well. One thing I think you mentioned earlier this morning, Marios, we haven't been seeing a whole lot of lightning with this as well. So the lightning is, of course, a lot of energy combined in these storms, but for some reason we're not seeing a whole lot of lightning. We've had that cloud cover in, we've had that low level energy as well, we've had that rotation at the surface as well, allowing for these spin up tornadoes. Whether or not this is going to be extended, it's going to be moving eastward. So we're not doing sort of a backtrack. We're not coming back through Austin. It doesn't work that way. So what we're going to be expecting with this storm is to continue to move eastward, likely that warning extended on downstream over to the north and east. Whether or not it picks up energy, whether or not it slows down, we don't like for storms to slow down, because certainly if a storm slows down and is dumping a whole lot of rain, that is another a bad juju on top of that. It's added rainfall and flooding issues on top of that. So as this one tornado warning moves out, we're going to be left with flooding issues here in central Texas. And that tornado watch is in effect until 5 p.m. That flood warning for portions of Travis and also Williamson County, Hayes County. That is in effect until 3 p.m. this afternoon. Boom. That's where you see that right there. That is in effect until 3 p.m. So everybody you can see shaded in this polygon here, down on 35, San Leanas, Onion Creek, Fords Oak, Vinson, Circle C, Hayes, all this area, Buda, Mountain City, just to the north of Kyle. This warning is in effect until 3 p.m. this afternoon. So some of the damages that we've been seeing across central Texas for this morning, I want to go back and talk to you about that. So I said Bush Creek earlier. I apologize. Busher State Park. That is Busher State Park. There was some damage there. Cars flipped and Bastrop, the Upton, Smithville area. We got reports of damage there as well. No reports of damage here in Austin. No reports of damage in, let's say, Round Rock, Georgetown. No reports of damage there. We just have that flash flood warning in effect for this area. I've also been keeping a close eye on low water crossings. As of this point, as of 12/21, we have 18 crossings closed. Most of these are south of Austin. Okay, so that is south of Austin. We have one on Old San Antonio Road at 35, one on Poston Lane, and even south from that. East Congress, even south from that, down near the Ashbrook, San Leana area, one over near Met Center, and one up to the north as well. We have a couple or a few of them near the Round Rock area. So low water crossings, hey, as long as we can keep those low water crossing numbers low and we get this system quickly moving out, we don't have a whole lot of flooding to work with. However, we have had some video come in. I wonder if we can pull that video up again that we had in Austin and downtown. I believe this was the downtown video. We've had a lot of flooding down in that area there. We've had rainfall accumulations upwards about ½ inch, upwards to nearly an inch of rainfall. You can see there some of that very heavy rain falling down on the sidewalk there. And Mario mentioned earlier, even if this is just an event where you're out and you're not necessarily driving around, if you have to get on the roadways, and I want to put a big emphasis on if, your visibility is also going to be cut down because of the very heavy rain. On top of that, don't forget that there's also ponding on roadways as well. So some of these roadways, you all know Mopac, it dips, it moves, it grooves, it turns, it twists. That is leaving some ponding in some of those low-lying areas on the side of the roadways with Mopac specifically. We have other low-lying areas here in central Texas as well. So as we pull back up Max 1, that flash flood warning in effect until 3 p.m. this afternoon. In addition, on top of that, we do have the tornado watch in effect, and I believe that's until 5 p.m. this afternoon. So this one block you see down to the south, I will circle this, that is not a tornado warning, that is flash flood warning. This one is the one over near the Giddings area that is a tornado warning. That's going until 12:30 this afternoon. So as far as the energy that we have left for the remainder of the day, we're expecting more storms the remainder of the day. This is not going to be an event that we just have to say, woohoo, goodbye, get on out of here. We're expecting a couple more storms to move through later this afternoon and even into the evening hours. So you still need to make sure that you are weather aware. Make sure that you have your phones dialed up, make sure they have them charged, because you can get those weather alerts, those advisories, those warnings pushed right to you. That KVUE app is free in the App Store, and hey, there's no excuse we will want to keep you guys informed and keep you guys weather aware. Maria?
Yeah, and while we do want to keep you informed, obviously, about the ongoing warnings, we want to prep you for what's ahead here for the rest of the day. So we have seen that heavy rainfall. It continues along Interstate 35, along Williamson, Travis, Hayes County as well, but even south it extends. And all of that is moving north and east. I want to also talk a little bit about what's going on in the hill country. So Jason, if you can pan for me, pan this way, we do have still additional rain. We have more that is building, and we can see that. We did have really clear conditions across areas of the hill country. Not the case anymore. We do have a few little showers popping up. We are not seeing any lightning with this, no thunderstorms just yet. But still, this is an environment that can absolutely still produce some thunderstorms. And these thunderstorms are all moving in the direction of an area that has already been seeing a lot of rain, an area that is already saturated. So we'll continue to see this building from the west. That's just an area to watch for, but certainly to the south of us, where we continue to see additional development of these showers and thunderstorms, where there areas near San Antonio do have a tornado warning that includes Hayes County now, unfortunately. So there is some rotation. I can see it right along there. That rotation, I believe that storm's moving kind of towards the east northeast, and this particular warning in place until 1 in the afternoon. And yeah, there's that rotation. You can see it there. That rotation continues to move east northeast. This is probably going to take on the same track. So we will see this move probably closer to about 30 miles per hour. That's what some of the earlier storms were showing. But this warning now includes a very small portion of Hayes County. It includes areas just along I-35 there, southern, just south of Wimberley. Wimberley not included in this, but New Braunfels included in this warning. And unfortunately, just something that we have to prep for. Jason, do you have what direction and speed this is moving at? I know this just popped up, but this is one of those storms that we have to watch for. It's on the very tail end, on the very outer skirts of our viewing area, and it could very well skim our area. And I can see that inflow right along there. We can see that continues to move towards the east. And again, it does include the southernmost tip of Hayes County, so it is moving towards I-35. It's something we want to keep a close eye on.
Yeah, it's moving east at about 25 miles per hour. It's 9 miles southwest of Canyon Lake Dam. That's where that storm system is located at.
Okay, so an area that has been seeing some very heavy rainfall already this morning, going to get hit by additional heavy rainfall. And again, that storm is showing some definite signs of rotation as it moves into an environment that is still capable of sustaining a rotating thunderstorm. And do we still have that active warning north and east of here in Lee County?
So in the Lee County area, they just said that they were going to So we still have that tornado warning in effect. Excuse me, let's go back. So we still have that tornado warning in effect until 12:30, but what they're also going to do on top of that is add a severe thunderstorm warning until 12:45 for the rest of Lee County.
Okay, until 12:45 for the rest of Lee County. And it looks like that little part of the storm, it's not so little, but in comparison to the rest of it, that part that is rotating right to the south of 77, north and east of Lincoln, heading towards the dime box, still looks like there is significant rotation there. That's that storm that has been so stubborn. It has shown signs of rotation for the past 2 hours, and it will continue to move now out of our viewing area, unfortunately heading towards areas of the Brazos Valley. This is one of those storms that isn't very tall, like Jason was saying. I'm not seeing a lot of lightning with it, but definitely a strong storm when we're talking about winds. Anytime a storm is rotating, winds are going to be strong, and we've seen this cause damage already. We've seen reports of damage in Bastrop County with this same thunderstorm, and we can see there are really bright colors indicating that rotation in the area. And again, this is moving along 21. This is between Lincoln, Dime Box, moving right over Dime Box as we speak, and eventually here in the next 10 to 15 minutes moving out of Lee County. Jason?
5 miles per hour. So
are you putting a track on there for us?
Let's go ahead and put a track on that.
Yes, yes, we'd love to have a track on there.
I think you said about 25 miles per hour. Boom, there we go. So dime box, let's see for you within the next 10 minutes or so. Fairview High School, 1241. Seniors, don't be afraid. We're going to track this along that area for you. Near the Deanville area, just prior to 1 p.m. this afternoon. Davidson, just after 1 p.m. this afternoon, 112. Galilee Church, 112 as well. Huss School, 120. And just about an hour or so from now from Cooks Point. So this is not moving terribly fast, though, only about 25 miles per hour or so. But nonetheless, that warning is in effect for this region. So for the rest of Lee County, as we said before, we do have that severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 12:45 this afternoon. So look at here. We also have, okay, let me pull this back up here too. So for Burlington County, so this includes Caldwell, Cooks Point, that is until 1:15. So we have another tornado warning just to the east of that. So that tornado warning for Lee County has been expired, I believe. And so we just have this severe thunderstorm warning left for Lee County. So just Burlington County, just to the north and east of that region. No tornado warnings in the Austin metro. But as Mariel was just saying, over north towards the hill country where we were first experiencing some sunshine. I know I alluded to that just about 10-15 minutes ago. We're starting to see more storms pop up along Gillespie County, moving into Blanco County, and eventually they will likely hop over towards the Hayes, Travis County as well. So this is an indication, this is a reason why we have the aerial flood advisory in effect until 5 this afternoon. And we also have that flash flood warning in effect for portions of Travis and Hayes County until 3 p.m. this afternoon. So we have another 2.5 hours left with that flood warning. South, some energy as well. Tornado warning in Comal, portion of Hayes County, just southern portions of Hayes County until 1 p.m. this afternoon. So an additional threat down there as well. We're going to eventually move back towards Busher to get some video that's not up yet, but we're going to be showing you that. So as far as that watch is in effect, we talked about that watch. That is until 5 p.m. this afternoon, folks. 5 p.m. this afternoon for every location you can see shaded here in the yellow. That does not mean every location is going to get a tornado. That does not mean every location is going to experience or see or get damage from a tornado. That means that we will likely have or possibly have some conditions that could yield a quickly spinning tornado, or it could be radar indicated. It just also allows for us to see exactly what will be available and how we need to remain weather aware through the evening hours. Okay, so let's put back up the warnings so you can see exactly where this is. I know it may seem like we're continuing to reiterate the same information, but as people hop on and hop off, they're working from home, they're with the kids, this is the information that you need to know. Tornado warning for portions of Comal and Hayes County until 1 p.m. Let's go up to the north. Let's come a little bit closer to home. Flash flood warning in effect until 3 p.m. this afternoon. Okay, that includes Travis and Hayes County, Austin, Buda, Onion Creek, Shady Hollow, Sunset Valley. But also take a look outside of this. Let me take this warning off for you. Outside of this, you may be able to see a little bit of that green outline. Just look over to the left of Giddings. So you can see where that green outline, that box goes all the way down, all the way around, north towards Leander, and then it cuts back south of Round Rock, wraps around near Elgin. That is that aerial flood advisory that is in effect as well. So these are the surrounding areas outside of that flash flood warning that don't have a warning, but saying, hey, it is likely we're going to have some flooding in some of these areas. Don't think it's going to be significant, but it is something that we certainly need to keep on our radar for this afternoon and also heading into the evening. Main threat, again, is over near the eastern areas where there is a tornado warning near the Burleson area, but also near the Dime Box. We have a little bit of energy subsiding, so no longer have that tornado warning in effect for Lee County. That has been allowed to expire. However, we still have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for that area. So let's go back down south here and focus in on this one. We're doing a little bit of a do-si-do across central Texas at this hour. I want to put in our Doppler wind so you can also see exactly where that energy is, where that rotation is down there. Okay, notice where that green and also the red mixes, or it looks like they're coming together or dancing a little bit of a do-si-do. That's when you get the winds, the green coming towards the radar, the red going away from the radar, and you can indicate, and that indicates sort of that rotation down there. I'll put on the shear as well, so you can kind of see exactly what that rotation may or may not look like. Not too terribly impressive, but as it tightens up, we could see some strengthening with this as well. So we're going to keep a close eye on that in addition to all the other weather watches and advisories and warnings that we have in the area.
Yeah, and rotation's definitely something that we have to be watching for, Jason, just because with every single scan, it tends to look differently. Every single scan with this type of system that moves through central Texas, it will look differently. You could see it broaden, you can see it tighten, and what that means is that you can see it weakening and you can see it strengthen all within the matter of minutes. So something else that I do want to highlight is just how much rainfall we have already seen. Our atmosphere still has so much moisture left in it. However, we're already seeing rain totals in southern Travis County. Of course, these are radar estimations of over 2 inches. Areas of Hays County, southern Hays County, over 3 inches. Just south of the Buda area, over 3.5 inches of rain. Of course, this is all radar estimated. Just north of Highway 46, over 5 inches of rain, so just to the south of us. And that is an area that is seeing that heavy rain moving back in. I talked about Bastrop having the most activity this morning, or at least the strongest activity this morning. That's exactly what I am seeing. What I don't want to see is more rain moving into an area that's already very much saturated. I'm seeing rain now moving over Cedar Creek, and this has a lot more in the way of lightning. So something that I'll be watching for here is the potential for some hail cores, and I see some tiny ones in this area. I'm going to here stop the clock here. This is showing you a snapshot of some of the hail cores right now. Areas just south of Cedar Creek, areas to the north and east of Lockhart there, Caldwell County. The Caldwell-Bastrop County line has a couple of indications of some hail cores. Not significant, but certainly something to be watching, because I am seeing more lightning in this particular storm, and generally what that means is a bigger threat for some hail. As far as the shear goes across the area, or the rotation, the potential for rotation, I'm only seeing that with the warned storms that are currently in Lee County with that severe thunderstorm warning, and with that storm that is just over Highway 46 there north of New Braunfels, and just a sliver of that warning is now cut out, but it still includes portions of Hays County. Southern Hays County includes areas along I-35. So there's what it looks like on radar. I know it looks very messy. It's because it's very close to radar. But something else that Jason was mentioning was obviously the rotation. And I mentioned how fast it can kind of show up and then go away. With this latest scan, I saw some of it kind of go away. So that's good news. We like to see that. But of course, something to definitely watch, just because we do see the trend of storms kind of quickly strengthening. One of the silver linings of this storm and the direction it's headed in is that this is an area that has already seen rain. This is an area that has already been cooled down by some rain. So that will help the intensity. It'll help lower the intensity of this next storm that moves over the area. Unfortunately, what it will not help with is the flood threat. Heavy rain over the same area is never a good thing, which is why that flood advisory is in place across all of Hays County. It's in place across all of Travis County, but it's also a flash flood warning in place for southern Travis County and northern Hays County there along Interstate 35. And it does include some of those neighborhoods that we mentioned earlier: Onion Creek, Shady Hollow, Sunset Valley, along Highway 45 as well. So that rain does extend all the way from Williamson County down past Hays County. I'm still seeing a couple of little showers starting to pop up in areas of the Texas Hill Country. So that's another area that we'll be watching this afternoon. If there happens to be any clearing, any sunshine, any additional heat, that's an area that can really pop off in terms of strong storms. And what I'm seeing right now is, yeah, just a little bit of clearing in the Hill Country, but not all too much. across the area. Now, something that I mentioned this morning was that we were under a marginal risk for severe weather. That's a category 1 out of 5 for the likelihood of seeing the strong to severe storms. But there has been an update on that, Jason. So is that for today?
Yeah, that is for today. I know I mentioned yesterday that we were talking about we only had a marginal risk for severe activity today. That was the lowest, a 1 out of 5. They've since updated that. That now includes sort of this bullseye, a 2 out of 5. So this is a slight risk. So widespread activity, we really tried to steer away from using that word widespread because it gives the indication that everybody's going to see this and everybody could be seeing this at the same time. That's not necessarily what's going to happen. That means that more locations have the likelihood of experiencing more storms, numerous storms, albeit at different times, but throughout this period. This period today. This Tuesday. Okay, so all this you see stated in the green there, that is at marginal risk 1 out of 5, and then this number 2, that is a slight risk, that is a 2 out of 5. As you increase in this legend here, 3, 4, 5, you get more activity, you get stronger storms, you get a more widespread event, and you get a more of a long, prolonged period of time. I did see this earlier in the season. Last month in April, my family is located in Mississippi. They had a 4 out of 5 marginal or a moderate risk. That's when you see long track, strong tornadoes, high intensity, lots of energy. So let's look ahead at what's going to happen here, because Mariel mentioned this a few minutes ago in terms of what happens the remainder of the day. I want to give you a little bit of that forecast look for the rest of the day. We're focused on the now, but we're also storm tracking and forecasting for the future as well. So let's move this forward hour by hour and kind of show you exactly what's happening. So you can see some energy still trying to churn up here across the I-35 corridor through about 2 p.m. Whether or not we're going to have any warnings around 2 p.m., it is likely that we will. What those look like, we're going to be taking a closer look at and see if we have any more additional of these stronger storms coming out of the hill country that Mariel was saying over near the Fredericksburg, Johnson City, Blanco area, if they're going to be moving closer and call for a warning or so. Into the afternoon and early evening, 3, 4, 5 p.m. Notice we start to get more energy popping up with this model here. So we're likely to see even more rainfall. We're likely to experience even more rainfall. At this minute, only 18 crossings closed across central Texas. I'm going to refresh my screen and see what it looks like. Still 18. Okay, still have 18 crossings here. But look at this, 4, 5 p.m., some of these areas along south and east of the area here, we could likely experience more low water crossings. This means poor visibility. This means some flooding threats in some areas. And then 6, 7 p.m., that's when we start to get that final curtain call moving out of central Texas, okay? So that's not until later on this evening, unfortunately so. We're still going to likely have some energy trending through the region as well. That tornado warning, National Weather Service did just say they're extending that. It's continuing for Comal and Hayes County through 1 p.m. this afternoon. And it's a severe thunderstorm capable of producing. So we haven't seen, I don't think so, Mariel, correct me on this if I'm incorrect, any reports or any observers saying that there's been any damage down there in the area.
Are you talking about south of Hayes County area?
Yeah, the Comal Hayes County one, yeah.
Yeah, no, you're correct. I have not seen any active reports of that, but there have been reports of some significant flooding south of our region. And if we can head over to Max 2, I can show you those. We do have, I'm going to zoom in here, areas closer towards New Braunfels, areas closer towards Bernie did see quite a bit of rain before we did. So they are definitely experiencing the heavy rain, and that report that I was mentioning, it was over just to the north and west of New Braunfels. There was a picture posted on Twitter actually of flooding, and so that's an area that's been hit pretty hard. Whenever I look at accumulations overall, that's where the area that has seen the most amount of rainfall in central Texas, and so it's just where 281 and 46 kind of come together there, just south of Canyon Lake is the heaviest rain that we've seen in central Texas. I do have some good news for us. We have expired warnings That's always so nice to hear. We only have a severe thunderstorm warning for Lee County. Unfortunately, that tornado warning does continue into Burleson County, but it is no longer in our viewing area. That's headed towards areas of the Brazos Valley, but of course there is a severe thunderstorm in that area. This does include Dime Box. Again, this is in Lee County. Another area that we were watching was the southern portion of Hayes County. There was a tornado warning there that has expired, which is good. Something that we will be watching, obviously, is the potential for some flooding. There is now a flash flood warning in place for that same area. That does include Canyon Lake, south of Wimberley, south of St. Marcus. We will see still an ongoing flash flood warning in place for Travis and Hayes County. So again, areas to watch for. We still have a tornado watch, and Jason explained those differences so well. A watch meaning that our environment is still very much capable of producing a strong storm that could lead to a production of a tornado, and a warning means that the threat is already there. And the good news is that we have no active warnings in place for our viewing area. We are going to continue to watch this heavy rain threat, and of course the potential for any tornadoes. We'll continue to watch for some rotation, but at the moment we only have a tornado watch in place until 5. That's the yellow that you see on your screen there. The red, that's in Burleson County, just to the west of Brazos County. And that is a tornado warning that has left our viewing area specifically. We still have flash flood warnings in place that include southern Travis County, northern Hayes County. But Jason, unless you're seeing something I'm not, no other active warnings in place. No other active warnings in place, Mariel. This is great news for us here on this Tuesday afternoon. So I think we also have the storm chaser. Somebody can tell me, I think we have the storm chaser. We do got video in from the storm chaser right now. I think that's near Smithville. Yeah, we're near Smithville right now. Photojournalist Tom Rapp is capturing this video for us. So this Smithville area is the one that was kind of a little bit of an active sequence this morning when we had that video come in from Valerie Harmon near that area. Doesn't show like a whole lot is happening right now, Mariel, which is good. We have rain. Of course, we do have some rain, but this roadway looks like probably a secondary roadway there. A little bit of a wet slosh on there, not too terribly active. We apologize for the signal. Of course, they're out there in the boonies, so it's not really that clear. But you can certainly see this is still sort of an active weather day here nonetheless across central Texas. Bit of a recap though, no tornado warning at this hour here in central Texas. That's great news for us, but we still do have the flash flooding concerns through this afternoon, even into the evening, as Chief Meteorologist Al Ramon is going to be talking about in our evening broadcast. The area advisory, flood advisory in effect, that tornado watch in effect until 5, and you can see behind me that flash flood warning for portions of Travis, Hayes County until 3 p.m. this afternoon. Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what Tom captures out there in Smithville. Just to recap, Smithville was one of the hardest hit areas of the morning, and there's still rain in that area, as you could see there with the video that we just showed you. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of video he captures and what he stumbles upon, because there were not just one but 2 very strong storms that went through the area that were rotating, both of them, one after another, within the span of 30 to 45 minutes. 2 strong storms moving over Smithville, and that was an area that we unfortunately did have confirmed tornadoes. So we will see what kind of other damage Tom stumbles upon. But yes, the good news is that no active tornado warnings in our area. We still have that tornado watch, meaning any of these storms could very well produce a rotating thunderstorm that could eventually lead to a tornado. And of course, we're watching here around the clock for you. And something else that you should absolutely have is that KVUE app. So important, especially around, this time of the year. It's severe weather season, and we can get heavy rain, we can get tornadoes, we can get strong winds, we can get it all. We can get hail, and that app is just kind of a safety for you. It'll allow you to get instant updates on your phone. You can stream us also if you lose power. That's one of the better tools of that as well. If you happen to lose power, hopefully your phone still has a little bit of a charge, and you can watch us and get your updates and keep your family safe. And that's our number one goal here at KVUE is keeping your family safe and keeping you informed. Again, we are still very much watching the flood warning in place for southern Travis County, northern Hayes County, and this is just an area that will continue to see rain. Radar has estimated over 3 inches of rain, and more is coming on top of an already saturated soil. So are there any other reports out there, Jason? Anything else we can tell our viewers?
Things are calming down, my friends, and that's good for us. Things are calming down. I think what you've been indicating and talking about is very, very critical information. Even if this is one event where you're like, oh, okay, I don't have the app, I need to download the app, just give us a holler, give us a shout, follow us on our pages, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We are always available for you guys. Even if you have a question, if you're wondering, hey, what is an MCS? What is a mesoscale convective system? We can answer that for you. We can tell you what to look for, and we can tell you what you need to do in the event that something happens in your area, or if something happens in another area, if you need to pack a bag, what things that you need to keep in there. All of that is key information. We get this system, we get these things happening a couple times a year, but also sprinkled in between across the calendar year. In April and May, and then eventually as the seasons are changing in October and November as well. For the remainder of the day, we have a few things I know I was just talking about earlier. Even if I'm just beating it into you, I just want you to know it. I want you to be safe for the remainder of the day. That tornado watch in effect until 5. And also, you may hear some of these chimes, this new information, new alerts, things are coming in. But also, that flash flood advisory in effect until 3 p.m. this afternoon. So keep that in mind. You may think that things are going to be okay in some of these roadways that you're driving on a regular, but there are also some low-lying areas that may have some ponding. There may be some areas that you just miscalculate, and all of a sudden you encounter those areas, and it becomes a little bit of a struggle when you're driving. Something that I mentioned earlier on when I hopped on with you, Marielle, is some power outages as well. I live in North Austin, so along Palmer Lane, and also coming down North Mopac, I did see that some red lights were out in those areas as well. So if you're up, it may or may not, it may be fixed by now, but I just wanted to let you know because I saw someone just blow right through the red light. Take it easy. Take it easy until once we get the storms moving on out and the visibility gets better in some of these areas. Okay?
Yeah, you mentioned the visibility, Jason. If we can hop over to Max 2, I have the current visibility of our area. And this is an area that, of course, we're seeing the heavy rain in. Visibility is really, it's on a scale of 0 to 10. 10 is perfect. We're not seeing any issues. We're good. We're clear. You can see 10 miles in front of you. The smaller that number gets, the less you can see. When it's 0, that means you can't see your hand in front of you. In Pflugerville, we are down to 2.5 miles of visibility. This means that if you're on a straight road with nothing else in sight, you can only see about 2.5 miles ahead of you. You can only see about 5 miles ahead of you in Austin. These are the type of issues that we have whenever we do see all of the heavy rain. It's not just the flood concern, obviously, on the ground, but also the heavy rain that is limiting visibility. And we are, at the moment, still experiencing temperatures in the mid-60s, about 66 in Austin. We have the heavy rain in the area. That rain helped us stay on the cool side. 70 right now in Bastrop, about 80 in LaGrange, so still warming up there. If some storms do make it out to Fayette County, we could see some of those ramping up because there's just so much energy left over in that area. If you have any pictures for us, if you have any video that you've taken, of course, safely for us, we would love to see that. Just email it to us, news@kvue.com, and let us know where you're watching from, and just let us know that you're just trying to help us out, because we love being able to show everyone else what it really does look like out there, and why we're warning our viewers and why we're giving everyone a heads up of what we're seeing. And just kind of a recap of what we have seen so far today. Bastrop County had several tornado warnings. None are active at the moment. Our viewing area does not have any active tornado warnings, but this is what we saw. Can we go ahead and pull up some of the video of just what we've seen this morning? So this was one of the videos that we saw. You can see there a lowering of clouds, and I believe this was out of Bastrop County, and you can see it there just slowly coming down. That rotation, not slow, by the way. Winds in that cloud were over 80 miles per hour when you're looking at like the upper levels of it. So something else that I'm noticing is some of those trees kind of moving in towards that cloud. That shows the inflow, just kind of the strength that these storms are gaining, and just how puffy these clouds are. There's a lot of moisture in there. So not just some big rain producers for us, but also some very strong wind producers for us, even if we didn't see a big lowering. Do we have any other videos that we got in from our viewers? Yes, this one out of, we said Austin, but this is just heavy rain, and you can see how fast it's moving on the ground, how limited that visibility is. That's what we talk about when we're talking about heavy rain. Limited visibility, rain just flowing pretty fast along a sidewalk. I mentioned this earlier, but it does not take a lot of rain to knock somebody off their feet. So definitely avoid rushing water at all costs. I know that's on top of a sidewalk, but it does look like it is. It does look like it is almost like a river, just how fast it's flowing. And of course, that rain coming down fast, so just adding to the problem. We have one more video to show you here. For this Tuesday afternoon now, but this is thanks to Katie Mars sending this in. This is another lowering, another funnel moving. I believe this was also out of Bastrop County. This is that same.
I think it's near Busher.
Okay, it's near the state park. So this is, yeah, this was right between, I believe, Page and Giddings, that storm that we were talking about. We stayed on the same storm for about 2 hours with intense rotation, and you can see the lowering there. You can see just how dark the skies are, and just the intensity of just one storm. And I just got confirmation. This was from Smithville. So it was that tornado that was confirmed near Smithville. We had a couple of confirmed sightings. Of course, the National Weather Service will have to go out and survey after this is all moved out of the region, just to see if there's any damage, just to classify what scale these tornadoes will be. The good news is that I didn't see too many reports of damage, so that's something that we always enjoy to see and enjoy to hear, is no damage. But unfortunately, that there was a bit that was reported with the barn, and I know Jason mentioned some cars that had flipped over, but just impressive video there out of Smithville. Katie, thank you for sending that in, and definitely staying from a safe distance as well. I believe we have one more to show you, two more to show you.
Ooh.
Yeah, we've had some great viewer video and pictures, and again, if you can safely take it, we would love to see it. This, I saw some lightning there, so really bright. I have not seen this video yet. Wow, you can see debris. Trapped Fennel sending this in. This had to have been that same storm, but you can see a clear debris ball there. I know you can't clearly see a funnel, but as long as there's rotation on the ground, and I can see the trees rotating. Wow, yes, that is absolutely a tornado. Confirmation there. If there's rotation, even if you can't see an actual cloud, but if there's rotation on the ground, that's absolutely a tornado. And you can see the debris there, and you saw the lightning flash there. Wow, that's scary. You see how those trees closer towards closer towards the person taping this, you see that tree kind of moving towards the funnel. Yeah, you don't want to be in that situation. That's called an inflow. That means the winds are moving into the cloud, and that's feeding the storm. We do have one more video out of the Smithville Airport. I have not seen this one either. Wow.
Wow,
look at that.
Is impressive.
That is a significant lowering. So I believe out of the Smithville Airport, where that was one of the first reports I saw of a confirmed lowering. So you can see there the wall cloud. Can I stand in front of this picture so I can point out some things? Can I? I have to kind of geek out about this for a hot second, but we have, oh, I can't, it's okay. We have, I can't stand in front of the
Pardon us for geeking out here.
Yeah, but you can see there, the really dark part, that is the funnel that's lowering. The lighter color shade there, that's called a wall cloud, and that it is absolutely That's just a classic signature of a rotating thunderstorm. And the higher that you look up, the darker it gets. That's when you start getting into some pretty strong winds. That's when you start getting into the hail core. And you notice how bright the grass looks. That's because the sun was shining on one side. Jason, that is classic tornadic activity.
Beautiful, and I don't want to use the word
terrifying.
Fantastic, but it is unbelievable. And that video, Luis De Leon tweeted it, and I just retweeted it. So if you guys want to go to Twitter and take a look at that for yourself, that is the Smithville City Manager Robert Tamble that took that from that storm you were mentioning this morning. Okay, so we don't have any tornado warnings in effect. We do have that flood warning in effect until 3 p.m. for portions of Travis and Hayes County, and we also have that tornado watch in effect until 5 p.m. this afternoon. We're going to get you back to your regular programming right now. We'll continue our coverage here for the moment on digital, and be sure to tune in later this afternoon. Chief Meteorologist Alvaro Ramon will be back in, and he will guide you through the storm. Stay safe, everybody.